It may be interesting to recall and note that any time the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, visits President Donald Trump of the United States of America, US, something strange or new does occur in the Middle East, either starting a new war or a new attack tactic is being deployed into the existing theater of war. This historical timeline of bilateral meetings between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump directly maps the introduction of increasingly aggressive military tactics in the Middle East. To start with, it may be recalled that after their campaign meeting on July 26, 2024, Israel executed an unprecedented cyber-kinetic supply chain attack on September 17 and 18, 2024, by remotely detonating booby-trapped Hezbollah pages and walkie-talkies, a strange military tactics that kept almost everybody in the world talking. And after Netanyahu's inaugural visit to the White House on February 4, 2025, a breakdown in ceasefire negotiations led to the total collapse of the January Gaza truce and a massive, renewed ground reinvasion by late February 2025 began, following consecutive strategic summits on July 7 to 9, 2025. Joint forces of the US military and the Israel Defense Forces executed a high-intensity, 12-day dynamic air campaign featuring preemptive subterranean strikes directly hitting Iranian infrastructure, and in addition, following Trump and Netanyahu emergency winter bilateral meeting at Mar-a-Lago on December 29, 2025, regional hostilities escalated into an all-out, state-on-state comprehensive joint war against Iran that broke out on February 28, 2026, leading directly into the current theater of warfare that saw the killing of the Iran Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and on Friday, the Israeli government informed the general public that the Israel Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has prepared to depart Israel on Monday for his next scheduled White House summit on Tuesday, July 28, 2026. According to the Office of the Prime Minister of Israel, at the invitation of US President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will depart this coming Monday for a visit to Washington. During the visit, the Prime Minister will meet on Tuesday with President Trump at the White House and attend the funeral service for Senator Lindsey Graham, a friend of Israel. This visit is coming at a period US and Iran began new rounds of attacks and hostilities in the Middle East. The visit will mark the seventh formal meeting between Netanyahu and Trump since Trump returned to the White House in early 2025. Available information indicated that the White House and Israeli officials have been navigating intense bilateral discussions as President Trump weighs pivotal strategic options. These include whether to authorize a resumption of major combat actions and a broader joint military campaign alongside Israel, following 5 months of direct military conflict with Iran that has taken new twists since early July 2026. As massive military campaigns continued in the Middle East, US forces are aggressively enforcing a stringent naval blockade of Iranian ports and maintaining a heavy offensive posture, having just completed a 13th consecutive night of precision air strikes across Iran. Under the authorization of President Donald Trump, US Central Command, CENTCOM, is utilizing aircraft and cruise missiles to target Iranian military command centers, drone storage facilities, coastal surveillance sites, and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) logistics hubs. These operations are explicitly designed to degrade Tehran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and restore open transit through the volatile Strait of Hormuz. In parallel to these destructive bombardments, CENTCOM has expanded enforcement of the naval blockade, recently redirecting over a dozen non-compliant vessels and actively disabling a commercial tanker in the Gulf of Oman via targeted engine room strikes after it repeatedly attempted to breach the restriction zone. The new tension in the Middle East resumed following the official state funeral and burial for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei during the week-long period spanning late June to early July 2026. The formal state funeral processes for the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei were officially announced in mid-June and took place over a week-long period from July 3 to July 9, 2026. The burial was originally planned to happen shortly after his assassination on February 28, but the Iranian regime intentionally postponed the rites for over 4 months because of active, heavy combat operations with the United States and Israel. When the multi-city funeral procession finally commenced on July 3, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps implemented highly strict wartime security protocols, which included closing the entire airspace over Tehran, enforcing sweeping traffic restrictions across capital centers, and shutting down all public and private offices. The elaborate, tightly choreographed ceremonies moved from the Grand Musalla in Tehran through and even extended into holy Shia sites in Iraq like Najaf and Karbala, before culminating in a final private burial on July 9, 2026, at the highly revered Imam Reza Shrine in his birthplace of Mashhad. The timing of the July funeral served as a flashpoint that directly triggered the collapse of the fragile June diplomacy and ignited the renewed war. While millions of mourners packed the streets, domestic political tensions boiled over as hardline crowds publicly heckled Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and other diplomats over the terms of the fragile, suspended Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the West, USA. The new Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, who has not made a single public or televised appearance since taking office on March 8, he issued his first major address regarding the funeral on July 11, 2026, through a highly hawkish written statement read on state television. In this speech, Mojtaba Khamenei explicitly declared that global vengeance for his father's assassination was the will of the nation, asserting that those responsible would take the hope of a peaceful death to the graves and that revenge would be executed regardless of who remained in office. This hardline declaration immediately unified the military apparatus, prompted US President Donald Trump to issue severe warnings of total destruction, and set off the current wave of aggressive port blockades and intense naval skirmishes across the Persian Gulf. Currently, the Middle East is gripped by an all-out regional war following the complete collapse of the brief diplomatic pause, with human casualties mounting exponentially across multiple nations since hostilities erupted on February 28, 2026. Military operations began without warning when the United States and Israel launched a massive, simultaneous military offensive. The military operation, codenamed Operation Epic Fury by Washington, saw nearly 900 airstrikes within 12 hours targeting underground nuclear enrichment facilities, ballistic missile silos, and command and control centers at the opening salvo. A precision strike on a leadership compound in Tehran killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, throwing the regime into immediate chaos. To prevent a domestic power vacuum, the son of the late leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, was rapidly fast-tracked as the new Supreme Leader of Iran on March 8, 2026. The human cost of the war has escalated dramatically over the last 5 months, with total fatalities across all sides estimated between 8,970 and 18,304 people. According to Iran's Ministry of Health, at least 3,468 people were killed in US-Israeli attacks on Iran prior to the June pause, with an additional 50 people confirmed killed in renewed July strikes. The ministry notes that the wounded inside Iran exceed 26,500 people, including thousands of women and children. On the secondary fronts, Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health has documented at least 2,294 deaths resulting from compounding cross-border exchanges. The United States Department of Defense has officially confirmed that the American military death toll has risen to 17 service members killed in action. The Pentagon recently released the names of the latest fatalities, identifying them as First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, 25, and Private Isabella Gonzalez, 19, who both died during a hostile attack on the Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan. According to data tracked by U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, more than 447 American service members have been wounded in the conflict. The Pentagon noted a sharp escalation since the collapse of the truce, confirming that nearly 100 of those service member injuries occurred after July 7, 2026. The remaining 14 American service members killed in action since the outbreak of hostilities have been systematically identified through declassified casualty files from the U.S. Department of Defense. The largest single-day loss of life occurred during an unmanned aircraft system attack on Port Shuaibah, Kuwait, on March 1, 2026. The Pentagon identified the 6 soldiers killed in that specific strike as Army Reserve Specialist Cody Cork, 35, Staff Sergeant Noah Tychens, 42, Sergeant Nicole Lema, 39, Specialist Declan Cody, 20, Staff Sergeant Jeffrey O'Brien, 45, and Army Reserve Sergeant Robert Marsden, 54. An additional 6 Air Force personnel were killed on March 12, 2026, during a high-altitude mid-air refueling accident over western Iraq amid active electronic warfare jamming. Their identities were released as Major John Klinner, 33, Captain Ariana Savigno, 31, Technical Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, 34, Master Sergeant Seth Koval, 38, Staff Sergeant Curtis Angst, 30, and Senior Airman Tyler Simmons, 28. The final 2 fatalities disclosed by CENTCOM occurred during separate skirmishes inside Iraq, including an American officer with familial ties to Utah who was killed during a coordination flight, and a service member killed in northern Iraq while conducting a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance recovered from a downed Iranian attack drone. Casualties have also impacted Israel and neighboring Gulf states due to widespread retaliatory strikes. Data published by Statista Research Department via the Institute for National Security Studies records 35 Israeli fatalities, consisting of 24 civilians and 11 military personnel, alongside 7,738 civilian injuries caused by missile fire. Furthermore, official casualty reports from neighboring governments include 12 deaths reported by the United Arab Emirates Defense Ministry and 7 deaths confirmed by Kuwaiti authorities following localized missile strikes and fallen interception debris. The military stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz has simultaneously triggered a catastrophic global economic shockwave. The baseline economic fallout stems directly from the total suspension of maritime transit through a waterway that typically accounts for 20% of global crude oil and liquefied natural gas flows. According to findings published by UN Trade and Development, UNCTAD, the initial disruptions starting on February 28, 2026, caused global energy trade to stall, removing roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day from international markets. Data compiled by the U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, reveals that this freeze blocks nearly $600 billion in annualized energy commodities, driving Brent crude oil prices past $126 per barrel and severely depressing global merchandise trade growth. Regionally, the Middle East Research Institute reports that neighboring oil-dependent states have experienced fiscal devastation, with Iraqi seaborne crude exports collapsing by 96% and total oil revenues plummeting by 76% due to the blockade. The chronological progression of the war reveals a fragile attempt at peace that quickly disintegrated. Following 40 days of devastating combat that severely disrupted global maritime traffic through the choked Strait of Hormuz, Pakistan successfully brokered a conditional ceasefire. By June, US and Iranian diplomats drafted a temporary memorandum of understanding to negotiate regional security boundaries. However, the diplomatic effort fractured when Israel's hardline security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir publicly declared that Israel was not bound by the agreement. Negotiations collapsed entirely when White House officials dismissed Iran's hefty maritime transit toll demands as completely unacceptable. The region officially slid back into full-scale warfare after Iranian forces and regional proxies resumed active attacks on commercial oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. US President Donald Trump declared the temporary ceasefire over and ordered the US military to return to maximum force, establishing a strict naval blockade on all primary Iranian ports. Allied forces have since engaged in multiple consecutive nights of heavy air raids targeting radar installations and drone launch pads. In retaliation, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fired barrages targeting U.S. assets in Kuwait and Bahrain, heavily damaging energy grids and a vital water desalination plant, causing mass civilian displacement along Iran's southern coast and neighboring border zones.
Welcome Nephew, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
We just decided to make this one of our plugin free because WordPress plugin directory does not permit us to sell our premium plugins, but only give us opportunity to advertise our premium plugins, and they demand that we must make our plugin or one of our plugin free, completely free for life. So we decided yesterday and this morning to submit one of our plugin that will be entirely free. It will also give millions of WordPress users opportunity to test the efficiency, the effectiveness, the quality and the uniqueness of our plugins. And this is the list of the high quality of plugins. We currently have over 40 plugins that we are still doing the legal and technical documentation. We have only released 2. So we hope that before this week runs out, we are going to release more of these plugins. We have plugins to address a lot of marketing issues, not only for news and all that. For you that run e-commerce, you run a business, you are looking for a digital licensing hub, we have already built that and we have test run it, and is working perfectly effective. So it will be among the early plugins we will release so that businesses across the world, you can be able to sell your digital goods to your customer and have 100% full control of it. Even though somebody breach into your identifier and use your digital assets, this you have full control of it to deactivate or reactivate or approve, pending when you are satisfied that the person has met up with the monetary obligations. And this plugin is universal and globally. Anywhere you are in the world, all you just need to do is to check the payment store, the storefront, any of the e-commerce that can deliver digital goods, and the e-commerce, the currency support your country. Anywhere in the world, you can use this plugin. You can use it because we build this plugin without specifically narrowing it or limiting it to any storefront or limiting it to any specific AP. So it's between you and your client, and your own is to get confirmation from your payment store that yes, the client has made payment, and once the client made payment, the payment store will complete its duty of delivering the assets, the digital assets, to the client immediately. Once the client install it, it will show in your dashboard that yes, the client has already what paid. You always to check your storefront to be sure that yes, this client who is accessing my digital mail plugins is really legitimate, really authorized. If not, you have access to write to the person to provide evidence that he actually make purchase of this plugin and the right he has to use it. If you could not provide evidence, you can deactivate. You can deactivate. And when is make satisfactory response, you can also reactivate. That is the beauty of this licensing hub that will be going globally. We also look at the opportunities. Paystack. Paystack is one of the Africa leading international payment and banking solution in the sense that it's helping Africa businesses, millions of Africa businesses, to help them collect payment from customer anywhere in the world, because many Africa has been limited, because if you use Stripe and some others, the procedures are somehow, you will be required to open this and other. But Paystack, as far as you have your local currency and your Africa country is supported, like Paystack is supported in Ghana, is supported in Nigeria, is supported in other Africa countries. So Paystack now have option whereby anywhere in the world, just the way we use our credit card to subscribe and make payment for digital subscription and digital goods anywhere in the world. So anybody can also use their credit card to subscribe or make payment for your digital goods. So as far as Paystack support your country or business, maybe you are in Nigeria or you are in Ghana or you are in any country, Paystack support you. So we look at Paystack now of recently make their storefront, update it, that they cannot deliver digital assets. Currently now, we refuse to use all the traditional e-commerce because of the procedures, the unnecessary bottlenecks and unnecessary regulations. So we find it very easy using Paystack. Currently, we are using Paystack as our means of transaction between our customers and our business and our services, and it's working very well. So what we did was that we developed a plugin that you can be able to display your Paystack storefront on your site, and the plugin also have short codes. You also have HTML that you can be able to copy it and put it in any site that accepts to help you display your storefront. That with that, if you visit our site, you see the way we display our storefront. It is courtesy of that Paystack plugin we develop. So it will be among those we hope to release this week, and some others that will be very. So we are not only concerned about publishers, we are concerned also about businesses, because the work of a media house is to develop the society, and we do that without fear of favor. We have no single respect for anybody that try to undermine us or deny us the freedom to do what we feel is good or what we know is good. We have no respect for such a person, and it is our duty to fight such a person to a standstill. If he means destroy, you destroy such a person, because we only have one responsibility. Our responsibility in the media industry is to make the society a better place. It has been the tradition and it should still be the tradition. And because of doing that, we know we don't have enemies and we don't have friends. So whatever we have, it depends on you. If we are your friends, fine. If we are your enemy, fine. So we will continue to break grounds. We will look at the possibility of making things more easier. So like the WordPress, because like the Paystack display front and that of the licensing hub, we know some businesses pay millions of naira every year. Please kindly note, all our plugins, all our premium plugins are once in a lifetime. The plugin remain with you forever. Any update you will get it instantly. Any update you will get it instantly. The plugin remain with you forever. You only pay once. Once you pay once, that is all. There is nothing like annual or monthly or weekly. So once you pay once and for all, it becomes life and permanent with you. So depending on when you choose to use it, any new update we have over that plugin, you will see it on your dashboard. The changes, everything will be there. The changes will be there. You will just see it. So there will be no need of any hidden whatever. So like this one, this is the smallest of one of the plugins we develop. We say, okay, let's make this free. And the way I manage the WordPress software engineers quickly reviewed our plugins and gave it the attention it needs. And within that yesterday, it was approved and it was sent to us. But because of stress and all that, it was this morning we were able to upload it. And it has actually gone live. That people are already using it. And you can go to your dashboard, you can access this free plugin. Just type us as what I'm going to do. Even though you type us as what I'm going to do, the plugin will pop up and it will give you option to install and activate. And so, like, you might not get our premium versions, our premium plugins on the WordPress directly, but we are working on it that the contacts to easily get our premium version, you can easily, once you go through, you can easily see it from the free premium pages. You can easily get our premium contact so that you go to our sites, make choice. You can make, with the help of the paystack plugins we develop, you don't need to be moving or observing any form of redirect. You can make your payment there because we also have a currency calculation that will tell you the current exchange rates, so that any country, based on your local region or area, you can be able to select your own currency and check it against the naira, because this is a company, Osazo Akuneduro Limited, is based in Nigeria, in Edo State, Benin. We operate from Nigeria, and we felt it is very important that we use our own local currency as the price tag. I think that is the best, and that is the standard of operation, and that is the ideal marketing values and all the necessary principles of marketing. So it's good that we use our whole currency to fix price. So you always to check your whole currency against our local currency to see the exchange rate before you make payment. So once you are satisfied, the pay stack is link up. The pay stack checkout will pop up for you to impute. And once you make payment, the email you impute on the pay stack automatically, your receipts and all the necessary details that will enable you have full access to the plugin will be uploaded or sent to you via the email so that you can be able to access them. Like I said, all our premium plugins is once for a lifetime purchase. You don't need to buy anything, we don't need to demand anything from you. And our plugins are of high quality because we build this plugin based on experience. We build it based on experience and based on patience, pains in analyzing challenges, obstacles, failures. We took time to observe existing successes of other plugins and the limitations, and we decided to do something extraordinary, more better, more okay, that will be more interesting, not just to the publishers alone, to the entire business community. This plugin will be very, very effective because they are all dynamic, universal, and they are not limited to a particular business or not. it can be used by any business for you to showcase your business, for you to use to display your products and use it to make your business website more stable and more user friendly. Thank you very much.
Osazuwa Connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Software engineering and media firm Osazuwa Konedo Limited has announced the global release of its new server layer database utility, the Osazuwa Konedo Dynamic Autoload Optimizer, version 2.1.0, engineered as a premium, high-value must-use (MU) plugin. The software addresses one of the most widespread yet invisible performance bottlenecks plaguing modern digital publishing: the accumulation of orphan configuration data within the core WordPress database structure. The software targets large-scale web architectures, news networks, corporate platforms, and search engine optimization (SEO) agencies that suffer from unexplainable mobile lag, high bounce rates, and random server crashes during traffic spikes. While traditional web optimization tools focus on front-end patches like file caching, CDN integration, and image lazy loading, the Osazuwa Konedo engine targets the server-side database configuration layers where initial loading speeds are decided. Every standard page request on a WordPress site initializes a database query that automatically reads every option row tagged for initialization and dumps it directly into the server's active RAM memory before web content or text grids can even render. This structural mechanism causes extreme back-end bloat over time. When web teams install, test, and subsequently delete heavy free plugins or third-party tracking tools, those modules leave behind massive rows of configuration footprints. Because WordPress does not purge these options upon deactivation, they remain in the system forever, forcing the server to load megabytes of dead software code on every single click, exhausting CPU threads and spiking time to first byte (TTFB) latency. The system bypasses this hidden crisis through a dynamic identification umbrella matrix. Upon manual activation, the algorithm maps the live site ecosystem, automatically identifying and safe-listing core WordPress keys, active theme folder structures, child theme style sheets, and every active plugin directory prefix. This safeguards the site against database corruption. The engine then runs an automated database parse targeting unmapped, abandoned option keys exceeding an 8 kilobytes critical risk threshold, cleanly converting their status from auto-loading RAM targets to standard demand-only queries. The creation of the database tool was driven by the firm's real-world experiences running high-traffic news properties like Osazuwa Konedo.news, a heavy media network running continuous dual live stream video feeds, interactive currency calculation matrices, and intensive Google AdSense ad networks on individual pages embedding up to 200 high-resolution images. Testing has shown that unoptimized database autoload bloat can cause websites to completely freeze and time out under synthetic loading tests, even on premium cloud hosting frameworks. To maximize structural efficiency and maintain a zero overhead footprint, the software introduces a proprietary, automated deactivatable connector engine that eliminates the need for manual FTP file renaming. Webmasters simply access the dedicated settings panel and toggle the native operational switch from an idle green to a red active state, instantly initializing the optimization matrix in the server's runtime memory. For absolute safety, the intelligent engine features a built-in 20-minute failsafe timer that automatically switches itself off and parks the software back into a dormant state, ensuring processing loops are never wasted. This production-ready codebase, complete with its high-priority anti-fraud audit checking and dark glossy terminal monitoring console, is currently available for commercial acquisition through the official storefront at autoload.osazuwakonedo.news or the main store page at muplugins.osazuwakonedo.news or directly via the Paystack storefront at osazuwakonedo.muplugins.osazuwakonedo.news.
Welcome. This is a guide on how to use Osazuwa Konedo Dynamic Autoload Cleanup unused legacy options. The purpose of this maintenance plugin is to maintain your database and also clean up auto load options, legacy options that is making your site to lag and all that. Even though your site is not lag, but gradually it's piling up. So it's better you have this once and for all maintenance plugin, so that from time to time you can always clean up your system. Because if you check your heads, maybe you go to tools, under tools just see site heads, you see that your site heads may not be let's check site heads. My site head is my whole site head. Let's check what will be the report. These are manual, so manual AP call. So you just refresh. So once your site is show critical, you know that something terrible is happening to your site. Something terrible is happening to your site, which is not good, which you need to maintain. Just like human being, when you are having some kind of ailment, it might not kill you once, but gradually keeping that ailment or not treating such ailment can lead to further more serious, more dangerous ailment that you see some person, they will just sleep and wake up, that's all, they will die. So it's because why they have a prolonged ailment, probably they did not treat or they are abandoned. So that's the essence of maintenance. The same thing to site website. So that's why you see that WordPress have an inbuilt mechanism which is called site head. All you just need to go to that tools under your admin dashboard, click on your site head. It will show you if everything is working smoothly or not. In some cases, you will see that critical auto load issue. Once you see anything critical, you must resolve that issue. But some cases you will see it, they will write auto load, telling you that there are a lot of unused plugins or plugins that are causing auto loading on your site. That anytime someone visits your site, a lot of unused legacy options, auto load scripts that make your website lag and all that. So maybe at your O, because your O is already cached, you might not feel it, but somehow, somewhere, people, especially those in the remote areas or people in area where network is not that, they are observing it, and it might be the reason why crawler boots is not actually indexing your site and all that, because they might consider your site not too user friendly, so they might be shying away from your site and all that. So ideally, when you come to your site, it is how your site is supposed to be. Like now, great job. Ignore those minor AP call, maybe AP delay, AP check, that because those ones are minor, they are not. Or you just know when you see such thing, you refresh. But when you see critical, you refresh and refresh and refresh. The critical error continue to show on that site head. It means it's an issue that needs to be solved. And one of the issues that usually cause all these things is legacy options. Legacy options are usually plugins you have used before, you are no longer using, but they leave some metadata on your database, and as a result of that, they are still loading some scripts that is slowing down your website, that is causing your users not to have a better, more proper experience they're supposed to have. So it's good that you maintain it and switch them off. So this plugin do two things. It will erase it some of the ones, and for safety reasons, for us not to erase data that are not supposed, we have to put it in 8 terabyte to ensure that we are on a safer side. It does not erase data that's supposed not to be erased. But the fact is that it will switch off legacy options that actually you are no longer using, but it will not delete it. To switch them off so that they will no longer disturb your site. They will not delete it. So it depends on you for that. So at least that one is enough. You don't need anything more. So once you, first of all, unzip the package, you can come to your FileZilla or File Manager, depending on the host you are using. So if you are using GoDaddy to connect to WordPress, I think you have File Manager. You can easily use File Manager. But if you have direct access to WordPress, you might need FileZilla. Just to install FileZilla. To install FileZilla, you can be able to upload your MU plugin. So once you now it's already uploaded and installed. Now after install, you go to settings. Then when you go to settings, you see the name. So we're gonna do dynamic auto load cleanup and unused legacy options optimizer. So when the page open, once you install the plugin, it will be on the off mode. Once it shows this gray, it means it's off. The plugin is not working because it's a maintenance plugin. It's not a plugin that's supposed to be active always. So you only use it when you need it. After you use it, you switch it off. But in case you also forget to switch it off yourself, the plugin have an inbuilt engine that within 20 minutes it will switch itself off. So for instance, let's see, we want to do this cleanup now. So we change this green button to red to switch it on. Then we click apply state. Now you see, to show that it's already on, you read the text below. Automated timeout active. Call streak will self-deactivate and switch off inside approximately 20 minutes. So you have 20 minutes exactly maximum to do whatever you want to do. Otherwise, this engine will switch off the machine or the remake engine. So now that you have switched it on, you now go back to tools. When you go to tools, you now see the main engine, which is Osazuwa Akona do cleanup. This is the main engine. Osazuwa Akona do database auto load management cleanup. Now, what do you do here? You execute. You execute universal cleanup command. Execute. So once you click this execute, it will automatically clean the system off to load. It will show you this page. The target client domain will show you successfully unhook zero legacy because I've already cleaned my system. So like there is nothing like auto load in the system anymore, so that's why it's showing me this option like this. So no active dependency or legacy value cross the 8 kilobyte critical risk allocation profile. That is, the 8 kilobyte is the save net to ensure that we don't go beyond this. So once you are through, you return back to the control board. So you return back to the control board. Then you go back to settings. And click on this software dynamic auto load again. So click around here. So go to dynamic auto load page. So it's still remaining 17 minutes. So you can manually decide to switch it off by changing the red button to green. So it will be on a safe mode. You apply state, or you leave it, or if possible you forgot to go back and switch it off. This automated timeout, once it's exactly 0, once it has the 20 minutes set time has actually expired, the plugin will automatically switch off itself, so that it will not be running in your system, in order not to cause another kind of lag, because it's a maintenance plugin. The purpose of the plugin is just to add once and somehow stand off or deactivated, so that at any time you also want to use it, you first of all come to this panel to switch it on, and once you are through, either you switch it off by yourself or you by yourself switch itself off. So we did it this way in order to be on the safer side, to ensure that any of our clients or users who mistakenly forgot to switch it off by itself, there will be no cause for alarm. It will be able to switch itself off. So like now we want to switch it off by ourselves. We have already applied standby, green button. We now click apply state. So currently it's off. It's off. So if you go back to the tools to go and search the main plugin, the main cleanup plugin, you will not see it again, because why?
Osazuwa Tornado, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Software engineering and media firm Osazuwa Tornado Limited has launched a specialized software bundle designed to fix traffic loss, broken layouts, and revenue drops caused by traditional WordPress optimization tools. The new software, named the Osazuwa Tornado Site Optimizer and Search Engine Optimization Dominance Suite, specifically tagged Osazuwa Tornado Strict Consent Jail, JS, Image and Robots Text Site Optimizer, target high-traffic digital publishers, news platforms, television stations, and e-commerce agencies globally, as it may be interesting to know that modern websites face a difficult trade-off between loading speed and monetization, as standard performance plugins routinely speed up pages by aggressively blocking heavy scripts, which inadvertently disables legal cookie consent banners, lowers ad viewability metrics, and blocks critical search engine index crawlers. The newly introduced server-level solution is engineered specifically to eliminate mobile layout delays, solve unused JavaScript bottlenecks, and dramatically improve Google Core Web Vitals scores without disrupting digital advertising streams or heavy live stream media nodes. The system completely bypasses traditional caching limits by functioning as a zero-overhead must-use plugin ecosystem that operates directly at the core server level to run automatically before standard plugins or themes load, clearing the main thread to maximize page load speeds while safeguarding monetization channels. Osazuwa Tornado, Chief Executive Officer of Osazuwa Tornado Limited, stated that most optimization tools on the market treat all scripts the same, which routinely kills publisher earnings on platforms like Ezoic, AdSense, Open Video and Humix. The suite was engineered from the firm's own experiences running high-traffic news properties like Osazuwa Tornado News, which features 2 continuous live stream video stations, floating widgets, and aggressive Google AdSense ads on a single page displaying 100 to 200 images without experiencing layout stutters or sudden visual jumps. Tornado added that the framework protects monthly ad paychecks and search rankings by organizing scripts on an automated, human-verified timeline, forcing heavy media assets and tracking pixels to wait until the core content loads flawlessly. The core architecture relies on an integrated multiple engine matrix that separates itself from generic optimization modules by operating directly at the server code layer. A 4-tier script orchestration engine utilizes human traffic validation to run legal privacy frameworks instantly, ensuring out-of-the-box compatibility with the Interactive Advertising Bureau Europe Transparency and Consent Framework by automatically executing global consent management platforms like Cookiebot, OnTrust, and User-Centrics with zero loading lag. Simultaneously, the matrix holds back non-essential background advertising arrays and heavy widgets for 3 seconds to drop total blocking time to 0 milliseconds upon the first paint. This is supported by the precise image delay engine, known as Clean Snap version 3.7, which replaces traditional fade animations with a zero-flicker model that instantly pops images into position on scroll to eliminate cumulative layout shift penalties and lower interaction to next paint latency. For webmasters, an autonomous matrix UI log system provides a dark, glossy, terminal-styled administrative dashboard that records inbound Internet Protocol addresses, script execution sources, and active execution tiers in real time. The software also introduces advanced automated crawl budget preservation to maximize search engine visibility. A search engine optimization robots. Text Optimizer dynamically creates a revenue bot safer list that keeps Google AdSense, Ezoic, Humix, and Google Ad Manager crawlers active while pointing search bots directly to the main index file. This functions alongside the autonomous suffix redirector, which intercepts duplicate or junk sitemaps generated by default WordPress setups and applies permanent 301 redirects to the master sitemap, protecting deeply nested sub-pages. The framework features an intelligent bot verification engine that identifies search engine crawlers and auditing tools like Google Lighthouse, GT Metrics, and PageSpeed Insights, presenting optimized page code to secure higher visibility rankings while maintaining anti-layout shift protection through advanced non-blocking asynchronous script asset preloading. Built with a light code footprint that bypasses database overhead, the system supports modern WordPress installations and 7 Philippine pesos and 40 centavos through 8x environments. It is fully compatible with premium hosting frameworks, custom layout designs, and global content delivery networks, allowing website administrators to deploy the suite with a performance-first mindset that requires zero dashboard configuration or complex local database management. Digital publishers and independent webmasters can purchase and instantly download the production-ready codebase directly from the official corporate storefront on the Paystack store, backed by a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee. Under the leadership of CEO Osazuwa Akonedo, Osazuwa Akonedo Limited is a diversified enterprise recognized for its operations in media news publishing, banking, and strategic media consultancy. Expanding its footprint to address the critical technical challenges faced by modern web platforms, the company's dedicated software engineering division leverages deep expertise in both mass communication and platform monetization. The company now designs robust, server-layer tools aimed at maximizing website loading speeds, increasing mobile conversion rates, and protecting programmatic advertising revenues for digital publishers and corporate platforms worldwide.
This is Osazuwa Akonedo's site optimizer dashboard. This is where you can enter keyword or script you decide to consider, because there are some scripts, if you don't enter their keyword here, they might not even display. So it is very key that some scripts you have to know the keyword, or ask the developer or use your browser to do search to know the exact keyword that identifies such scripts or plugins, so that you know where to hide it. So the first thing first, after installing the site optimizer, automatically the site optimizer will activate once you install. After you make purchase, Paystack delivered the downloadable package to you, you install it through your FileZilla or File Manager. Once you install, automatically it will reactivate. Then you come straight to your admin dashboard. You look for settings. So under settings, you will see Osazuwa Akonedo's site optimizer. Then you click on it. So this beautiful page will appear. Now let's start tier 1. This tier 1, let's read the tier 1 analysis matrix. Auto eject and put selected script package exactly under 1 second. That's 1000 milliseconds. After device transaction, validation, signatures are confirmed. Now, like this tier 1, it is advisable you put jQuery keyword in this tier 1, because many scripts, many plugins in your site, WordPress or any other site, depend on this jQuery for them to be able to perform very well. So, and jQuery, if you exclude jQuery might have load to your site. Your site might not load more faster, might slow down your site, and your user might get a bad user experience. Visitors to your site might get bad user experience. So if you install this plugin, it's advisable you give special consideration to jQuery by entering the keyword jQuery in the tier 1. So after that, you move to tier 2. This tier 2 is the most important tier in terms of making your site load faster. All these years, most advertising scripts had a lot of load that makes websites unable to load faster. And I've seen many big media, many news media, television houses in trying to balance user experience and also that of advertising scripts or displaying advert on their sites. They have employed all manner of strategies, but unfortunately, if you check their website on Google Page Speed Insight, you discover that there is a red warning. And that red warning is telling you that this website, they are pre-connecting the advertising script. They are pre-connecting. So as a result of that, Google penalized them and declared their site not that fast. Even though you see some of their site fast, is because some of them use plugins that claim to actually optimize their site, but it's not actually optimized. What they use is cache plugins, and cache plugins does not really optimize sites. Cache is meant for different purpose. So that's why you see that most of these big media, there's little some of them can do on their site. They cannot really display content the way they want. They can't display much. If you visit our site, this osazuakonedo.news, you see that we have 2 floating widgets, 2 live streaming videos. One from Dailymotion, the other one from Ezoic or Open Video or Umis. Live streaming, floating widgets. Aside that, we have embedded videos, we have embedded audios from Spreaker, we have image on a single page of our site is nothing less than 100, and in some pages is up to 200 pages. And we advise you to visit our site and do confirmation by yourself. This plugin is what is actually helping us, because until we have to develop this plugin, we were faced with a lot of challenges, because we try using different WordPress plugins, both the free plan and the premium. We subscribe and everything, we are not getting. In some case, some will optimize your site, but your site will always freeze. Content will not open. So we have to look for a better way to solve this. That's how we develop this site optimization, which will be very good for heavy traffic sites that want to really update their site and display more content, like television houses. You want a situation whereby people can visit your website and watch your live streaming broadcast the same way they use any cable network to watch. You want a situation like that, this plugin is for you. This plugin is for you because this plugin will optimize your sites and give you good user experience. So this tier 2, some of these heavy scripts like Ezoi, they have heavy scripts. So we're able to carefully study the behavior of these advertising scripts, because some of them, if you delete them for just 1 second, they will not display at all. But we have to study the nature of it, and we're able to develop techniques to ensure that we're able to optimize them under 3 seconds. So as you can see, if you are using Ezoic, or you have partnership with Ezoic or Open Video, you are displaying their ads on your site. So these are the keywords like ezojs.com, ezodn.com, umis.com, Ezoic, EZODN, and UMIS. So these are the right word. And Open Video, they are all Ezoic related properties. So they are all connected together. So in order to give them special consideration, because if you don't put them here, some of these advertising script will not display at all if you are using this optimizer. So this site optimizer demand that you give special consideration to this advertising script by placing them under what? This 3 seconds tier 2. So other script that may not load if you don't give them special consideration, if you are using reCAPTCHA, so this script is also heavy. And sometimes it's not the most important script that's supposed to load first. Some of them require that you don't delay them even 1 second. You don't delay them even 1 second, but we're able to look into this script. We now consider that, okay, the best way to do it was to also add it to the advertising group, and we did it. Our site is the reCAPTCHA is displaying very well. If you visit, go to, maybe you want to register, you will see that the reCAPTCHA will display. So like this reCAPTCHA, because of the sensitivity, we decided to use the two full string, because this place is very sensitive. You have to avoid using full string. Using full string might break this tier 2 to the extent that script you use the full screen. If you check, it might be loading instantly. It might escape the optimization and be loading instantly. And it is advisable that this aspect, or any aspect, avoid using HTTP, just maybe putting anything like HTTP like this, something like this. Okay, just like this, avoid it. So if there should be need for you to use HTTPS, it has to be the full string, and you have to consider the script or the plugin you are using the full string for. You have to consider it very well. And if you check, if after using the full string and it break your site, is not loading instantly, it's advisable you remove it. But if you consider the script more important and is a script that is very important for your users or visitors to your site, you can leave it. But every other aspect will still be optimized. So these two strings will make the reCAPTCHA, because if you don't have this reCAPTCHA full string in this tier 2, they may not display at all. This automation will be denying the opportunity to display at all because of the sensitivity of the reCAPTCHA. So they may not display. So these are Google ads, like googlesyndication.com. If you visit our site, despite the optimization, Google ads are still displaying very well. Ad by Google, these are the keywords we use. So if you are using Shareaholic, share alike. Share alike is advisable you pick the keyword of share alike because share alike also had heavy load to websites. So one of the reasons people are, even though one of the reasons people are not finding it easy to use share alike, despite the fact that they have a very good, beautiful, shareable buttons and customizations that can make your site more beautiful. Because of the load the share alike script had or plugin had to your site, so people are afraid to use it. But right now, if you visit our site, we are using share alike and it is playing very well. So we're able to optimize it because share alike also have adverts. So what we did was because if we did not give share alike special consideration, maybe we decide to say, okay, until human interaction, share alike may not display at all. So if you are using share alike buttons or any of their features, you are using their plugin or you are displaying any of their or using their assets to display anything on your site, it is advisable you put the keyword. So just share alike.js. So it will be optimized and it will still display. Now this X04DU, what does it stand for? This optimizer automatically optimizes Dailymotion embedded videos. You don't need to give special consideration if the Dailymotion embedded video is just Dailymotion embedded videos. If what is on your site, you just embed the video. You don't need to give special consideration because Dailymotion have a lot of scripts that load instantly. It has a lot of scripts that load instantly. So the Dailymotion embedded video will optimize until human interaction. So if what you have on your site is just the embedded video, no. But if you have their live streaming player on your site whereby they are picture in picture peep, they are floating widgets. If you don't give the live streaming player special consideration of putting it in this tier 2, that player may not display at all. So all you just need to do, go to your Dailymotion account, just copy only your player ID. This is my player ID, my Dailymotion live streaming player ID. Just copy it and paste it on this tier 2, that's all. Don't add anything like Dailymotion, don't add any other information about Dailymotion, no. Only the player with that is okay. And this Dailymotion is very sensitive. For instance, you decided to put the full string of Dailymotion, maybe the full keyword of Dailymotion where it will show you the HTTP, the geo.dailymotion, just the way we did that of this recaptcha. If you do same thing for this Dailymotion by putting Dailymotion script like this, it will break this tier. It will break this tier and it will operate as if you have granted him to bypass this optimization for the Dailymotion player to load instantly. And if you even check your speed score using different speed testing tools, you will discover that the Dailymotion string you enter was entered wrongly. As a result of that, it break this tier 2 and turn it to what? Instant loading. So to avoid issue, the only thing that is permitted is just the player ID, the live streaming player ID. But if what you have in your site is just embedded video from Dailymotion, no need to put anything here concerning Dailymotion. The embedded video will be optimized and it will still display. It will still display. Now, the other aspects, these are from this STATS. These are for analysis, analytics. It is very, very important that you put your analytics in this tier 2. Analytics script had a lot of load to websites, a lot of tracking and all that. So they are one of the reasons that makes website slow. So what we did was to consider, and one thing about this analytics, if you decide not to put this analytics keyword in this tier 2, your site will still be getting report, but the report will not be accurate. So if you delay analytics in human interaction, you might not get the accurate data or record of traffic coming to your site. So it is advisable that you enter the analytics keyword here, like STATS, so that Jetpack, you can be seeing the star. So GTA, these are Google tag, GTM.js, analytics.js, Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager. That's all. Now, there's something very sensitive here. This GSI, this keyword is giving special consideration to account.google.com. If you have plugins like SiteKit and you enable the option where visitor to your site can use Google Gmail or any Google supported email account to automatically log in or sign up into your site. This GS is very important, but this GS, we decided to put it in this tier 2. The reason why we put it in this tier 2 is because why? We in the media, logging into our site or signing up for our site, we consider it not too important. It's not something we should give priority attention to. So as a result of that, there are a lot of persons, when you visit our site, you may not, this Google sign up will not come up, may not come up, because why? We put it in tier 2, because this Google account sign up and login is very sensitive, that it must be excluded if your website depend heavily for users or visitors to log in or sign up. If that is the purpose of your website, please don't put it here. You will bring it down to tier 0, whereby it will be totally excluded like every other sensitive scripts like the legal scripts that must be excluded. So this GSI will also be excluded. But if your website does not depend heavily, or you are just like us that consider it not 100% very important, and it should not be the priority of our site for people to log in and sign up, fine, you can hide or impute the keyword GSI. With this GSI is enough, is a keyword that identifies that account.google. If you visit many websites, as you visit the site, you see that Google, if you are visiting through browser that is enabled by Google or supported by Google, Google sign in or sign up button will pop up. It will automatically show you your existing email that is already, you have already logged in, asking you if you want to log into this site so you can use Google. So that's exactly what we are talking about. That's what this GSI stand for in terms of the Google service account that display such product. So it is a matter of choice depending on the function of your site and the focus of your site. So like we consider it that no, we should not give, because this script, if you decide to exclude it, it will reduce your performance score. If you even check your site on testing tools, online testing tools, you see that once you exclude this Google account sign in and sign up, it will add more load to your site. It usually add more load to sites, and it will slow down your site, because the Google library expect that this script is allowed to load instantly. So it's not, if your site depend heavily of login or sign in through Google accounts, either Gmail or any of the Google account products, that is the purpose of your website. Please don't put this GSI in this tier 2. You take it down to this tier 0. To this tier 0. So if you look at this tier 0 instance, these are scripts that are meant to bypass this optimization, because this script, you must not optimize them. You must give them their absolute freedom for them to operate, in order for your site not to be affected, or for them to work perfectly well on your site. So just read some of the instructions. It said tier 0 instance 0 seconds, critical system address, immediate 0 seconds, execution profile bypass link, reserved strictly for core CMP systems, cookie, consent AP routines, and security layers. It's very sensitive, so you must exclude them. So like now in our site, we are using WP consent cookie management. So we have to look for their keyword and indicate it here. If we have removed this WP consent keyword from this exclusion list, we decide to put it in tier 1 or tier 2, the cookie banner will not display. It will not display at all. It will not display. But I don't know the consent management plugin you are using or script you are using, but we also discovered that there are some scripts, because we tested Google consent banner cookies foundry choice script. We also checked Zoic foundry choice script. Even though you did not give them special consideration by placing them in any of these tier. We decided to leave them till human interaction. Those concept management script and plugin will still load, but there are some other plugins for cookies management. If you don't exclude them from this organization, they will not load. But we have confirmed Google, even though we delay them to infinity, till human listing, their founding choice will still load. We have tested Ezoic, even though we delay them to Unity, with this automation, their founding choice will still load. So in case you are using those two, there might be no need for you to put any of their keyword here, so that you don't end up creating loopholes for them to go and load their ad instantly. That is the purpose of this clarification. So there is another thing. This is a interactive advertising bureau transparency concept framework of European regulatory body in Europe. So this, you have to also put their keyword so that whenever consent is generated, it's transmitted to the legal firm or legal body immediately for proper consent and cookies communication, for your advertising partners to get the right signals and be able to display the ad. So you have to also put the keyword IABTCF. Now you see this BPFI. We have a custom plugin on our site that we also develop, which we will make available for sales after we are complete the testing and we are sure that it's now good and ready for public consumption. So we discovered that this plugin, when it is delayed till human interaction, is affected. So we have to look for the keyword and impute it and exclude it from here. Now, like all these WF offline, all these you can see here, we have a specially built PWA, progressive web app. This progressive web app is very authentic and enterprising, that even your users can be able to browse your site offline and it will not add any load to their storage, their phone or computer storage. It will not add any load. So it's very unique. So we discovered that delaying the PWA or optimizing it with this plugin will make it not to perform. So likely, if you have PWA on your site, it's advisable that you exclude it. If you discover that make the PWA to wait till human interaction, the PWA is not functioning properly, please exclude it. Like this, our custom PWA, we have checked, we excluded it, and we check the testing tools, we discovered that it did not add any load, any fucking load to our site. So it does not make requests that will make our site not to load instantly. So we checked, so it was very good that we exclude it, since excluding it will not add any load to our site. So if you check your PWA is actually adding load to your site, you have the choice to make. Look at the percentage drop in the score as a result of excluding it. But if you feel that the PWA does not worth it, it is better that you don't exclude it. You allow this plugin optimize it so that your PWA does not go and add more load or slow down your site. So that is for that. Now let's look at some of the page speed inside. First of all, let's check this, how our site is performing this page speed inside. You can check and check. You can see that our mobile is 70% performance. 70% performance. One thing you need to understand here, if you use this pagespeed.web.dev analysis to analyze many media, when I say many media, 99% of media, 99% of heavy traffic website, they display little of their content. They are afraid to really display their content the way they want because of user experience, because of loading of their site, the speed. So that is the reason why this optimization plugin is very, very important. I doubt you, if you check many big media, other companies, other businesses websites on this page speed inside, you see that their mobile may not even get up to 70% score. They may not even get up to this 70% score. And for us to achieve it, this optimization did a lot of work. Now you can see the total blocking time, the cumulative layout shifts, perfect, and all that. Totally great. So if you come to the desktop, you can see that it's excellent. So even that mobile will show you, if you really visit our site, visit this site through mobile, you might discover that you yourself, you might give our site more better score than what page speed insight is giving us. If you visit our site, either mobile or desktop, you will see 2 live streaming floating widgets, Dailymotion, Exoic. You will see up to 100 to 200 images, yet our site can still load fast in that manner. I think for that we deserve an appreciation and commendation. We strongly believe we deserve, this plugin deserve a trial, and this plugin, you have the right to subscribe or purchase this plugin. It's just once for a lifetime. Just go to our Paystack storefront, make your purchase. If after 7 days you are not satisfied with what you are giving, just click on refund button. We will refund you your money 100%. Nothing, no deduction, no tax, not. We will refund you your money 100% if you are not satisfied with what you bought under 7 days. We will refund you your money. So you can see almost everything here green. Almost everything here. We just clear our cache for test run this. Almost everything here green. Now let's go to this pinch down website speed test, tools.pinchdom.com. So if you also test our website here, you can see that it's giving us 82 performance grade. Aside the 82 performance grade is not the main issue, because many websites, if you come here, they delay their script, but in actual sense, the way they delay their script and all that, they are still not getting results. Even though this pinchdown.com do give them good score, but one thing you need to look at, visit our page, really check the load on our page, Because many television, this modern era, this digital era, television supposed to use their website for international broadcasts. If a television, a broadcasting house have a website, people should be able to visit your website and watch you live the same way it would have been using cable or using social media. Any means you should be able to broadcast there, because many social media are restricted by region, by countries. The social media that is very, very popular in your country, there are some countries that don't even know about it. They don't even know if such social media exists. So the standard way is to maintain your authority through your own website. That anywhere in the world, as far as your website has not been banned by their government, has not been restricted by their government, your website should be able to showcase your work, make people have easy access to your products, to your business, to your services, to your news content. So that is how it's supposed to be. So if you look at it now, despite the load and all that, our page size is not even up to 1 megabyte. It's just 779.4 kilobytes. The most interesting part of it is that this page turn is telling us how many seconds the duration for page to load on our site. Is not even up to 1 second for any page on our site to load. It's just putting it at 647 milliseconds, because 1000 milliseconds make 1 second. But in this case, 647 milliseconds, meaning is almost nearly half a second our page is already up. And look at it, despite the volumes, imagine we have not used this plugins to optimize our site. If you have tested our site here, tested this site on this pitch down website speed test, the request might be up to 600 to 300 or even up to 800 in some cases. But because this plugin has actually optimized this site in a very great and very, very commendable way, that's why you can see it like this. And these scores, these results is not just a result. You can confirm it yourself by visiting the site. You will understand what we're talking about. You can look at it here. Look at it here. Now, mind you, this page speed insights and page down, they use throated connection to test this site. The difference between throated connection and unthroated connection is that unthroated connection, they use area or mimic or use a network that is very high. That is unthroated connection. But throated connection is when the testing booth decided to mimic a very worse situation. A very worse situation whereby somebody is using 3G or 4G, or as the case may be, the area where the person finds himself or herself, the network there is not that good. That's what this pigeon and that of page speed insight do. They mimic those bad network. You know, for site to be considered fast, the hosting server must be good, while the website itself must be well configured. That's two. The third one, the client side. The client network, the internet network from the client browser. Then the device the client is using, because sometimes when the device you are using is not really good, is not modern, you might see that as you are visiting site, certain things you can open with your laptop or open with your other device, discover that one part your other device that is of lower grade is not able to open it, or if you open it, there will be freezing, lagging, and all that. Those are some of the things. So the three layers for a site to be considered really fast. One, the hosting. Like now our hosting is WordPress. Do they have fasting infrastructure? Yes, they have fasting infrastructure. Two, this website. The website is the website well configured, well designed, well optimized, so that the fasting infrastructure of WordPress can be complemented. Now, with this site optimization, if your whole have been failing before, it will no longer fail, it will be resolved. So the last one is the client side, because the client need to have a network. The condition of the network, is the network really okay? Is he having good network or bad network? Is the client, even though he has good network, the device, what kind of device is using, the processing speed of the device, what is the processing speed of the device, and all that. Those are the things you consider, because only the site alone cannot really make it safe, or plugins alone cannot really make a site fast. So the hosting infrastructure needs to be fast. The site plugin need to really do the optimization, while the client, the visitors, the viewers visiting your site, there must be a good network on their browser, and their device they are using must also be good. But one beautiful thing this speed done and that of PageSpeed did was that they mimic a situation whereby these users, these visitors, they have a very bad network like 3G or 2G or 3G, and their device is not good. That's how they were able to use to analyze my site to know if the hosting I've done is all work perfectly well, and if me, the site owner, or the site, let me use the word now, let me refer to myself here as the site, has also done my whole work by configuring my site, applying strategies or plugins, software to really optimize my site. And now they are telling me that yes, on our whole site, we have done 82%, which is excellent. So the same thing, like you see the page speed on this page speed is telling me 97. I've done 97% perfectly well in handling my whole side of it. Please, if you did not have this, after installing this plugin, did not have this score, please go through your PageSpeed inside information very well. There might be one or two plugins that is causing it, because like this search engine optimization, search engine scores that we see that we have 100. Before, we were using a different plugins for search engine optimization. Along the line, we have issues. We discovered that some of these plugins were not properly configured to address some basic crawler bots requests, or understand how augury or crawler bots behave. So that's why you see that when you put your site, you will see that majority of websites, they don't have this 100%. No, even though you test this our site 100 times, this 100 will remain 100. First, we have another plugin we're about to release any moment from now. The plugin is what you use to display your post related post plugin. You use the widget to display your post. we were using the regular plugin, so we bought them, the premium, but they were having issues. We'll continue discussing with the developers to fix some of the issues. We have to, our engineering team have to spend much time to develop those plugins. So if you are not having it gray, take time and study. You see that this site optimizer have already done its work. It's possible there is one or two gray area that need either manual fix by you or the developer of that plugin or script. You need to contact them very well. But when it comes to speed, just check yourself. You see that your site, the speed is very high. So if you are not having this course like this, then go and check other aspects that this plugin is not meant to address. And there are other aspects. For instance, if there are scripts, if there are scripts, maybe this site optimization is not able to catch the script. Is not able to catch the script and optimize the script. Once you need to know that some developers have a special way of developing some plugins or developing some display scripts that they might use the back end instead of the front end. So when they use the back end, this script might not be able to catch it. But all you just need to do is that if you discover that there is a particular script that is still loading instantly, take your site to this pitch down website speed. Once you click, then you scroll down, then you check the script that is adding the more load, that you feel that that script should not be considered as the most important or whatever, and it's still adding more load to your site, and this automation did not catch. All you just need to do, tell us the script, communicate with us. We are ready to assist you and help you. We are ready to assist you. The reason why we did not develop an engine that will dynamically detect those back-end specialized scripts, the reason is that if we do it universal, there are some sites it might break the function, the special function the developer tried to do. So we consider it necessary that we leave it in such a way that it will not be a special service, that anyone that encountered that, just contact us. We might develop a specific plugin. We will take time, analyze, understand your website, understand the script, understand the developer. First, try and reach the developer if the developer can optimize that script by itself. If you are not able to reach the developer, or you reach the developer, you are not getting good response, communicate to us. Use the paystack email or WhatsApp to reach us. We will reply you. We will look into it. We will tell you what to do so that we can have a better understanding of that script, and we'll let you know. We might be able to develop a specific plugin strictly for you alone, to fix that issue. Just for you alone. Because we cannot make such universal in order not to cause issue. Because this plugin is designed and well tested not to conflict with your website. Only what we advise is that if you have any optimization plugin, first of all, deactivate them. Deactivate them so that you see the beauty of this particular optimization. Because most optimization plugin, they freeze your content. Sometimes when your content is large, the volume of your content is very high. You see that some optimization plugin will not be able to open them. If you have large video, some optimization plugin will not be able. But this one, go and check. Like our Spreaker, our embedded Spreaker audios, both the both the what will I call it, the player and the text, despite the volume, everything you can still visit. They open very fast with little or no delay. They open very fast. That's to tell you the beautiful of this optimization plugin. So like this, GT metrics. This GT metrics testing tools. Look at it, they even gave us 98. They gave us 98. That's to say that. And they use a untrusted connection. So that is the reason why I explained the untrusted connection. So we still believe that if GT metrics did not use untrusted connection, decided to use trusted connection, there is still possibility that they will still give us this performance, because the Google page inside speed has already given us 97, and almost all the indicators show gray. That's to tell you that our site is perfectly, and Google page speed is using trusted connection. They both mimic a situation whereby the user is actually in a bad situation, whereby the network is not good, the device is not good, yet they can still access our site. So like this one is using, use untrusted connection. So let's check something directly from the lighthouse. So if you see the lighthouse, this is the lighthouse. My system, a lot of things are open. My system is not responding properly. A lot of pages open. Okay. So this is the lighthouse, which is almost similar to that of page speed inside. So look at the page. Lots of, let's see. Trying to open. Okay. Save that. Check here. Total blocking time, community layout, shift, speed index, despite the volumes. Despite the volumes on the sites. So let's check the desktop aspect of it. This is the desktop aspect of this site. Now see, lighthouse. Lighthouse to give me what, 96. See what this lighthouse said about see that the matrix. First content footprint is never up to 1 second. Speed index, TV, total blocking time, almost zero milliseconds. Cumulative layer shift is completely 0 milliseconds. That's great. Great. So you can see my sites here. Two floating widgets with Harvard and all. Yet we are still getting these scores. So thank you very much. Please enable and endeavor to get your own plugin, the site optimization. So that's what we're going to do, universal site optimization, and do something great with it, with your site, to help you generate more income and to make your site more stable, and to also enable you to be able to display a lot of things on your site the way you really want, because we are now in a modern world where website is now like a physical store. If you have a physical store and you don't have a website, it's as if you are still expecting to sell within your locality. So no matter how business you are doing, no matter how small your business now, you're supposed to have a channel where people can see you all over the world. Because if people are interested, you might have to send your goods, your physical goods, through Webby to them, and they will pay. And through your website, they will make payment to you. There will be evidence. Thank God, like Paystack and other payment financial institution, they are already taking care of that. And we have also developed what we call Paystack Global Studio, because here in Nigeria and in Africa, Paystack is already helping us so that we can be able to do international business, whereby people all over the world can be able to pay money to us and all that. So we developed a Paystack Global Studio where you will, when you get access to the plugin, you can use the plugin to also display your products, both your digital and non-digital goods, with Paystack payment gateway on your site. And it is designed in a way that there's option for shortcode, there's option for widgets, there's option for HTML, meaning you can also copy any of the shortcode or HTML and use it to display in your friend's site or in your neighbor site or any platform that permits you to display your storefront. So with our custom, so we are taking advantage of the new innovation Paystack team have introduced, and we are doing everything to also complement their efforts. So once again, we thank you very much.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Abducted 40-year-old Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, née Ben, and her 7-year-old son, William Ibori Jr., have safely broken free from their captors yesterday evening after a 5 million Naira's ransom payment was delivered secretly to an anonymous drop-off location, completely shifting the narrative of a tragic daylight ambush by heavily armed gunmen that had originally plunged Ogara, the ancestral home of former Delta State Governor, Chief James Onanyefe Ibori, into intense fear and tension, highlighting a terrifying surge in local insecurity, as this victim is the youngest widow of the respected Ibori family patriarch, retired soldier, and former Onugbogodo of Oharefe, High Chief William Boyi Agbekanya Ibori, who was born on February 2, 1942, and passed away from a heart attack at age 76 on July 11, 2018, leaving behind his wives, Mrs. Elizabeth and Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, alongside 9 children and 18 grandchildren, while her father, Chief Lucky Ben, recently confirmed exclusively to Osazuwakonedo News Media that his daughter is currently 40 years old, which clarifies historical timelines and corrects past social media rumors by establishing that she was approximately 32 years old when her high-profile traditional wedding ceremony was celebrated in Oharefe on Saturday, March 17, 2018, just 4 months before her husband's demise, meaning this high-profile abduction has severely worsened local anxiety by coming on the heels of another recent violent incident in Ogara where local farmer Mr. Vincent Adodja was brutally murdered on his farm and his wife kidnapped for ransom, forcing Ethiopia West Local Government Council Chairman Honorable Chris Onigba to vow an aggressive security crackdown as terrified residents demand urgent, decisive tactical intervention from the police command to halt the growing criminal epidemic, though a wave of deep relief has swept through the family space after a close source confirmed the breakthrough directly via an urgent text message stating that they have gone to drop the ransom and she has been released to them, following aggressive backdoor negotiations that forcefully broke down the heavily armed gang's initial staggering 150 million naira's ransom demand. The victims regained their freedom yesterday night after the family successfully delivered a 5 million naira's ransom payment to the kidnappers. The breakthrough was confirmed through an urgent message sent by a close family source to Osazuwa Konedo, expressing immense relief as the ordeal came to an end. "My wife just sent me this. They have gone to drop the ransom and she has been released to them." The family source stated. The armed gang had initially slammed a staggering 150 million naira's ransom demand on the family shortly after the violent ambush. However, tense negotiations over the last few days successfully brought the demand down to 5 million naira's, which was physically delivered to a designated drop-off point before the victims were handed back over to their relatives. Both victims are currently being reunited with their family members. This high-profile kidnapping occurs amidst apparent sharp decline in public safety within the Ethiopia West local government area. Speaking out against the escalating wave of banditry-induced violence, Reverend David Ugola, co-convener of the civic advocacy group Ogara Study Group, OSG, strongly condemned the worsening state of security in the community. Addressing the media, Reverend Ugola lamented that what was once regarded as one of Delta's relatively peaceful regions has quickly transformed into an organized criminal flashpoint. The security situation in Ogara and the environment has worsened in recent times, with the increasing wave of banditry, kidnappings, and killings in the locality, Ugola stated. Victims are increasingly being murdered even after ransom payments while poor families are left helpless and devastated. The Ogara Study Group highlighted that the unchecked activities of armed syndicates and cult groups are systematically disrupting local commerce, education, and farming. The body is demanding immediate state and federal interventions, including the heavy deployment of surveillance technology, tactical personnel, and enhanced community policing frameworks. "We reject any narrative that blames the community for the criminality visited upon it," Ugola added, while calling for the recognition of local traditional institutions as active partners in security delivery. Following the safe release of the victims, an emotional letter of appreciation from the affected family emerged, shedding more light on the traumatic 10-day ordeal. The message, penned by a member of the Osajere family whose wife is the immediate younger sister to the released victim, was addressed directly to Reverend David Ugola to express deep gratitude for his massive tactical and emotional intervention. The family member revealed that Omotsiri Syrian Ibori and her young son were targeted by the criminal elements while transit-bound for medical treatment and a family visit, an event that left their household completely broken and paralyzed by trauma. The letter reads in full, "Dear Sir, I would like to sincerely express my heartfelt gratitude to you, Reverend David Ugola, for your massive support during one of the most difficult periods in my family's life. About 10 days ago, my wife's eldest sister and her 7-year-old son were kidnapped while traveling from Benin to Ogara for medical treatment and a family visit. The news was devastating. Our home was filled with fear and uncertainty, and my wife, deeply traumatized, fell ill while still trying to care for our children through it all. From the moment I informed you, you stood firmly with us. You consistently reached out not only to me and my wife, but also to her father, the extended family, and even engaged the media through the OSG initiative. Your guidance, encouragement, and unwavering presence throughout this ordeal went far beyond any material support. You were there every step of the way, offering clarity, strength, and direction when we needed it most. Standing in the gap for me, supporting me wholeheartedly, and showing such deep concern is something I will never forget. As the Orobo saying goes, Ohwo Yahweh Dua, and you have truly lived it. You have embodied the values of family and responsibility that define us in the Osijere family. In you, I have continued to see the fatherly role you so graciously took on after the passing of my late father, guiding and supporting me consistently. Despite your many responsibilities and busy schedules, you always make time for others, whether family or not, near or far. That level of selflessness is rare and deeply inspiring. You are truly a dependable father and mentor. On behalf of my wife and I, we say thank you deeply and sincerely. Thank you for standing by us, for your constant support, for your leadership through the Ogara Study Group, and for amplifying the realities of insecurity in our community. I remain forever grateful and will continue to serve you. Your example has left a lasting impact on me, and I pray for the grace to uphold and reflect these same values to your children and our larger family. May God Almighty continue to bless you, grant you good health, and reward you abundantly for all the good you do. Thank you so much, Sir Migwa. #Grateful Heart. At the time of this report, security agencies are yet to release an official statement regarding the rescue or clarify whether active intelligence operations are underway to hunt down the fleeing syndicate.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Tragic daylight abduction of 40-year-old Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, née Ben, and her 7-year-old son, William Ibori Jr., by heavily armed gunmen has plunged Ogara, the ancestral home of former Delta State Governor, Chief James Onanefe Ibori, into intense fear and tension, highlighting a terrifying surge in local insecurity, as this victim is the youngest widow of the respected Ibori family patriarch, retired soldier, and former Unubrogodo of Oharefe, High Chief William Boyi Agbekanya Ibori, who was born on February 2, 1942, and passed away from a heart attack at age 76 on July 11, 2018, leaving behind his wives, Mrs. Elizabeth and Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, alongside 9 children and 18 grandchildren, while her father, Chief Lucky Ben, recently confirmed exclusively to Osizuwakonedo News Media that his daughter is currently 40 years old, which clarifies historical timelines and corrects past social media rumors by establishing that she was approximately 32 years old when her high-profile traditional wedding ceremony was celebrated in Oharefe on Saturday, March 17, 2018. Just 4 months before her husband's demise, meaning this high-profile abduction has severely worsened local anxiety by coming on the heels of another recent violent incident in Ogara where local farmer Mr. Vincent Adoja was brutally murdered on his farm and his wife kidnapped for ransom, forcing Ethiopia West Local Government Council Chairman Honorable Chris Onigbo to vow an aggressive security crackdown as terrified residents demand urgent, decisive tactical intervention from the police command to halt the growing criminal epidemic. Close family sources confirmed to our correspondent that the victims, the wife of the late High Chief Williams Boyi Agbekanya Ibori and their 7-year-old son, Williams Ibori Jr., were intercepted last week Wednesday and bundled away by kidnappers on their way to Ogara. The victims have now spent 9 agonizing days in captivity. According to insider family sources, the criminal ring initially demanded a staggering 150 million nairas ransom for their release. However, following frantic negotiations, the kidnappers slashed the demands to 5 million nairas. Despairing relatives revealed that the family is still struggling to raise the 5 million nairas sum to secure the freedom of the mother and child. The late husband of the abducted woman, High Chief Williams Ibori, was the revered Unubrogodo, traditional spokesman, of Oharefe in the Ogara Kingdom. A retired soldier and a member of the Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council, he passed away in 2018. This direct attack on his immediate family underscores a dangerous breakdown of security in the Ethiopia West local government area, spearheading fear that no one is safe. Just days ago, on Monday, June 29, 2026, a brutal attack occurred on a farm in Ogara. A local farmer, Mr. Vincent Adoja, was ambushed and brutally murdered by armed assailants between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. while working on his land. The attackers butchered Mr. Adoja on the spot before forcefully carting away his wife into the forest. The community was thrown into panic, with the deceased's body deposited at a local morgue. After intense trauma and the emergency payment of an undisclosed ransom by desperate relatives, Mrs. Adoja was finally released by her captors. In response to the rapidly deteriorating security situation, the executive chairman of Ethiopia West Local Government Council, Honorable Chris Onigba, led a high-powered delegation on a condolence visit to the grieving Adoja family. Accompanying him were the council vice chairman, Austin Atomre, and the leader of the legislative arm, Honorable Felix Ejimoyoma. Vowing an aggressive crackdown on the kidnapping syndicates operating within the axis. Honorable Onigba condemned the incidents as completely unacceptable. It is a painful loss that no family should have to endure, Onigba stated during the visit. We will deploy every lawful means within our authority to combat kidnapping and other criminal activities threatening the peace and security of our communities. Insecurity will not be allowed to thrive in any part of this local government. The chairman disclosed that all relevant security agencies have been explicitly ordered to intensify field investigations, fish out the perpetrators, and bring them to justice. He also appealed to tense residents to avoid taking the law into their hands, reassuring the public that the council is working around the clock to restore lasting law and order. As the 9-day countdown continues for the captive sister-in-law and young nephew of former Governor Ibori, community leaders and residents are urgently calling on the Delta State Police Command to deploy tactical squads to flush out the criminal elements hiding in the border forests of Ogara. Efforts to reach the Delta State Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO, SP Bright Edife, for official comment on the incident proved abortive, as multiple phone calls went unanswered and a detailed inquiry message sent to his desk is yet to be replied to at the time of filing this report. In a swift reaction to the deteriorating safety situation in the region, a prominent socio-cultural advocacy group, the Ogara Study Group, OSG, has expressed profound grief and outrage over what it termed an alarming deterioration of security across the kingdom. In an official press statement released on Wednesday, July 1, 2026, the group noted that the recent abduction of a local couple, which resulted in the brutal murder of the husband and the ransom-fueled release of his wife, has fully exposed the terrifying security vulnerability confronting local residents. The advocacy group emphasized that the violent ambush is not an isolated incident, warning that Ogara Kingdom is rapidly transforming into a volatile hotspot for coordinated kidnappings, armed robberies, banditry, and senseless killings. According to the leadership, this continuous wave of criminality has severely paralyzed local socio-economic activities, instilling constant fear in residents, forcing farmers to abandon their farmlands completely, and crippling businesses operating under persistent existential threats. Condemning the heinous acts of violence, the group extended its condolences to the family of the deceased farmer and sympathized with his surviving wife over her captivity trauma. Signed by prominent leaders, Reverend David Ugola and Professor Oghenruona Egweri, the statement strongly asserted that criminality has no ethnic, religious, or political justification, demanding that no criminal gang should be permitted to convert Ogara Kingdom into a safe haven for violent networks. To arrest the worsening crisis, the Ogara Study Group explicitly petitioned the federal government of Nigeria, the Delta State Government, the Ethiopia West Local Government Council, and all joint security forces, including the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigerian Army, the Department of State Services, DSS, and the Civil Defense Corps, to urgently deploy reinforced personnel, tactical intelligence assets, and surveillance technology to restore absolute peace to the territory. Specifically, the group urged the joint security authorities to launch aggressive field operations to dismantle hidden forest camps, increase armed patrols along major transit highways, rural farmlands, and local waterways, and establish rapid response units. They further demanded a thorough, conclusive investigation into the recent abductions to ensure that every individual connected to the criminal network is identified and prosecuted under the law. The statement also called for the immediate strengthening of community policing frameworks, urging the Ogara traditional institution, youth groups, market associations, and religious bodies to deepen their tactical cooperation with security agencies through lawful information sharing. While acknowledging the widespread anger and frustration boiling within the community, the group strictly cautioned local youth against resorting to mob justice, ethnic profiling, or lawless vigilante reprisals, maintaining that suspect tracking must rely purely on credible evidence and the rule of law. Concluding the briefing, the group declared this period a defining moment for the kingdom, stating that protection of life remains the primary responsibility of government and that enough is enough. The leadership reaffirmed its commitment to actively engaging state actors until absolute public safety is restored, insisting that the security of Ogara must become an immediate, non-negotiable national priority.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, has expressed deep concern over the acquittal of former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Dizani Alison Madueke, by a United Kingdom court, describing the verdict as a troubling moment for the global fight against corruption, illicit financial flows (IFFs), and impunity, a statement that follows the June 17, 2026, ruling at the Southwark Crown Court in London, where a jury cleared Alison Madueke of all 6 bribery charges brought against her by the UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, after a 5-month trial and 46 hours of deliberation, while her co-defendants, oil executive Olutimbo Oyinde and her brother, Doye Agama, were also acquitted, bringing a dramatic end to a saga that began more than a decade ago, a development that prompted ANEJ to take immediate action today, June 23, 2026, by launching a critical 2-day capacity-building workshop in Abuja in collaboration with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, a body domiciled within the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, SQML, an arm of the EFCC, to aggressively equip civil society organizations, CSOs, with the necessary tools to track, combat, and dismantle these very same illicit financial flows across Nigeria. Alison Madueke served as Nigeria's powerful oil minister from 2010 to 2015 and was the first female president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Her tenure was immediately hit by controversy when former Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi alleged that $20 billion in oil revenue had gone missing under her watch. In May 2015, just as the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan was handing over power to Muhammadu Buhari, Alison Madueke left Nigeria for London. By October 2015, the UK's NCA arrested her on suspicion of bribery and money laundering, seizing her passport and sparking a 13-year international investigation. For years, Alison Madueke's legal team fiercely resisted attempts by Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to extradite her back to Abuja to face separate corruption charges. Her prolonged stay in the UK was repeatedly defended on critical medical grounds. Her lawyers disclosed that she was diagnosed with triple-negative cancer, describing it as the most aggressive form of breast cancer. Over the decade, her defense stated that she underwent multiple major surgeries and extensive chemotherapy treatments in London hospitals, leaving her at one point in a coma due to medical complications. These health battles, combined with the extreme complexity of cross-border financial tracking, left her on continuous UK bail for 8 years before she was formally charged in 2023. Despite prosecutors presenting evidence that oil contractors funded a life of luxury, for her in London, including spending £2 million at Harrods, securing private jet flights, and occupying high-end properties. The case ultimately collapsed because the prosecution failed to meet the strict criminal standard of proof. The Southwark Crown Court acquitted Alison Madueke based on two central pillars: failure to prove direct bribery. The jury found that the prosecution's evidence was largely circumstantial. Alison Madueke successfully argued that she maintained strict due process, had no direct authority over contract awards, and that any luxury spending cited by the prosecution was either personally reimbursed or fell under official state business expenses. The broken system and gross delays. Her defense team successfully argued that the extraordinary 13-year delay by British authorities ruined the fairness of the trial. They asserted that the passage of time, coupled with a broken criminal justice system, made it impossible for the defendants to access vital exculpatory documents and evidence remaining in Nigeria to prove their innocence. While acknowledging the independence of the British judicial system, the Ainige leadership warned that the collapse of such a prominent international prosecution sends a dangerous signal to corrupt actors across the continent. While Ainige respects the independence of the British judicial system and the verdict reached by the court, this outcome represents a major setback in efforts to hold politically exposed persons accountable and combat grand corruption. It risks emboldening kleptocratic governments, corrupt public officials and their enablers across Nigeria and Africa who continue to loot public resources with impunity, said Reverend David Ugola, Executive Director of Ainige. The organization noted that the verdict deals a heavy blow to the UK's historical reputation as a leader in international asset recovery, transparency, and beneficial ownership reforms. Ainige expressed worry over a growing retreat by major Western democracies from robust action against grand corruption. Ugola warned that if the UK and the US take a back seat, prospects for ending impunity in Africa will become increasingly uncertain. The collapse of one of the most prominent corruption prosecutions involving a former African public official may weaken confidence in these commitments and undermine broader international efforts to tackle illicit financial flows. At a time when corruption continues to fuel poverty, inequality, insecurity and democratic backsliding across Africa, diminished international resolve risks strengthening those who profit from state capture and weak governance, Reverend Ugola added. A key point of concern for the international human and environmental rights watchdog, Ainige is the sharp contrast between the London acquittal and established legal realities in Nigeria. Over the years, Nigerian courts have successfully ordered the forfeiture of billions of naira worth of properties, cash, and luxury items linked directly to the former petroleum minister. Ainige emphasized that these domestic recoveries, secured through lawful judicial processes, underscore the massive scale of illicit wealth accumulated. The UK acquittal, therefore, raises difficult questions about the effectiveness of cross-border enforcement and the capacity of international institutions to bring complex grand corruption cases to a successful conclusion. These recoveries, secured through established legal channels, underscore the scale of illicit wealth allegedly accumulated and the importance of sustained international cooperation in tracing, freezing, confiscating and repatriating stolen assets. The acquittal therefore raises difficult questions about the effectiveness of cross-border anti-corruption enforcement and the ability of national and international institutions to bring complex grand corruption cases to a successful conclusion, Ugola said. Ainige warned that the judgment could demoralize citizens, anti-corruption agencies, whistleblowers, and investigative journalists who risk their lives to demand transparency. However, the organization stressed that the verdict must serve as a critical wake-up call rather than a deterrent. Ainige called on African governments and international partners to redouble their efforts by strengthening local institutions, improving cross-border judicial cooperation, protecting whistleblowers, and closing the financial loopholes that facilitate illicit flows. The fight against corruption is ultimately about justice for citizens. It is about ensuring that public resources are used to improve lives rather than enrich a privileged few. The struggle against corruption and illicit financial flows remains central to achieving democracy, sustainable development and social justice across Africa, Ugola said, reaffirming Enije's commitment to working with Nigerian and international institutions to ensure stolen public assets are recovered and used to improve public lives. In direct response to these ongoing transparency challenges and the staggering scale of national losses, Enij today, June 23, 2026, commenced a two-day capacity-building workshop in Abuja focused on addressing illicit financial flows, IFFs, in Nigeria. The training brings together key civil society organizations, CSOs, alongside distinguished stakeholders, including SECFAN Africa representative, Professor Abdullahi Shehu, and the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, represented by Chief Governance, Risk and Compliance Officer, Mr. Ibrahim Muhammad on behalf of Hafsat Abubakar Bakari. Representatives from the Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, SQML, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, are also participating. In his welcome remarks, Enij's Deputy Executive Director, Atakpo Leo, emphasized that the workshop is part of the project, strengthening CSOs and media capacity to contribute to the fight against illicit financial flows in Nigeria. He highlighted the critical role of CSOs in advancing public accountability, citizen mobilization, budget monitoring, procurement tracking, tax justice advocacy, anti-corruption campaigns, and policy engagement. According to Leo, the workshop aims to deepen participants' understanding of the nature, drivers, trends, and developmental impacts of IFFs, while strengthening their knowledge of relevant legal, policy, and institutional frameworks. It also equips CSOs with practical tools for evidence-based advocacy, procurement monitoring, freedom of information, FOI utilization, data access, coalition building, and strategic institutional engagement. Delivering a goodwill message, Professor Abdullahi Shehu noted Nigeria's strategic importance within Africa and commended Enij for its outstanding research on IFFs. He encouraged participants to actively engage in governance processes, hold elected officials accountable, and participate in democratic processes, including voter registration. Representing NFIU, Mr. Ibrahim Muhammad reiterated the importance of understanding IFFs beyond financial crimes, stressing Nigeria's significant role in combating illicit outflows. He underscored the need for collective action across sectors, noting that illicit flows can occur through multiple channels, including financial institutions and non-profit organizations. Similarly, Mr. Pascal Joseph Samu, who represented SQML, an arm of the EFCC, highlighted the severe developmental impact of IFFs, revealing that Nigeria has lost over $77.7 billion in the last decade, with an estimated $18 billion lost annually. He emphasized SCUM's commitment to implementing beneficial ownership transparency as a key measure to curb IFFs and reaffirmed institutional support for the workshop's outcomes. The workshop continues with strong collaboration among stakeholders, reinforcing a collective commitment to combating illicit financial flows and strengthening transparency, accountability, and sustainable development across Nigeria.
I'm just thankful to God. It's been a very, very arduous and long, almost 11 years. It's been traumatic for, not just for me, but for my family, for friends, for all those who have stayed and supported, for my 93-year-old mother in Port Harcourt, for my son, and for all those who love us, friends and family. Look, we're surrounded by friends here. You know. So it has been a hard journey, but I'll tell you this. God will always do as God wills, and God will be God. Amen. God is not a man that he should lie. And so when he promises you something, he will see it through. Sure. It has been almost 11 years I've been here. I did my job to the best of my ability. But like I said, God is not a man. God is God. And we thank him.
Praise the Lord. bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Edo State Governor, Monday Okpebholo has said the state government will set up special court for criminal proceedings in line with the existing laws for suspected secret cult members and kidnappers to be conducted within 2 or 3 weeks maximum, and if anyone is found guilty and sentenced to death accordingly, he will sign the death warrant and bring the condemned criminal or criminals to popular Ring Road area in Benin City for public execution so that such action will serve as deterrent to others. The governor, who probably have a good working relationship with one of the former governors of the state that started the recent execution of condemned criminals, Adams Oshiomhole, made this known on Thursday when he visited the headquarters of the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force, wherein some suspected kidnappers allegedly behind the shooting and abduction of a woman at a popular vegetable market along Airport Road in Benin City last Sunday were paraded before the governor and the press. According to the governor, I will set up a special court to try cultists and kidnappers within 2 or 3 weeks, and if found guilty, I would have no regret to sign their warrants. They would be executed at the Ring Road for others to learn a lesson. Don't take my simplicity for granted. For the record, the last time death warrant was signed and condemned criminals executed in Edo State took place around 6 a.m. on December 23, 2016. Few weeks after the then governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, took over power and was then still in good working relationship with ex-governor Adams Oshiomhole. 3 death row inmates were executed by hanging, namely, Ogbomoro Omaregi, Apostle Ijin, and Mark Omosohota, and the execution took place at the Oko prison of the Nigerian Correctional Service. The inmates had originally been sentenced to death by military tribunals under the robbery and firearms decree during the era of military rule in Nigeria. Godwin Obaseki carried out the executions despite condemnation from human rights groups, such as the Legal Defense and Assistance Project, LEDAP, who thus petitioned the governor for a stay of execution, saying, these earmarked prisoners were sentenced by military tribunals under the robbery and firearms special provisions Decree 1971 as amended, in which there was no right of appeal. We have filed an appeal pending at the Court of Lagos seeking order that these prisoners have right of appeal under the 1999 Constitution. Death penalty is not universally prohibited, but the second optional protocol to the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights on prohibition of the use of the death penalty asks state parties to amend their laws to abolish death as sentence for crime. Not all states have ratified the protocol. To sign a treaty does not bind the state until it is ratified. Nigeria has not signed it. It would be recalled that before the 2016 last execution of condemned criminals in the state, the immediate past and first execution in Edo State since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999 occurred on June 24, 2013, when former Governor Adams Oshiomhole signed the warrants to hang 4 inmates, Chima Ejiofor, Daniel Nsofa, Osarenwinda Eguokan, and Richard Agagu, at the Benin City Custodial Center along Sapele Road. The execution was the first in Nigeria since the last incident in 2006 after the then Kano State Governor, Ibrahim Shekarau, approved and carried out the execution of 7 condemned criminals. Oshiomhole action faced a lot of backlash from human rights community. Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, reiterated that the death penalty is an inhumane form of punishment and continued to advocate that Nigeria's laws should be amended to replace capital punishment with life imprisonment, even for high-level offenses like corruption, while Amnesty International declared the executions a truly dark day for human rights in Nigeria, and criticized Oshiomhole for ignoring the pending judicial appeal processes. Other human rights organizations filed appeals and public campaigns, urging the Edo State government to halt the execution of the inmates because their legal options were not fully exhausted, but all to no avail as the condemned criminals were still executed. Defending his action, the then Governor Oshiomhole said, I have no apologies because I did not sentence them to death. I am not the one who accused them. They were accused by those they harassed. They have been tried. They have taken advantage of the appellate courts all the way to the Supreme Court, and they were found guilty. The law also says having been found guilty and sentenced to death, the governor could exercise prerogative of mercy, but I say that I have no mercy on those who kill. Why should you compel me to have mercy on those who kill? In this battle of values, we must not behave as if some other people's values are superior to ours. If you feel that those who kill in your country should have right to life, and we believe in our country that those who kill should be killed, and those are reflected in our laws, until you reverse those laws will apply. If you tell me that the man who killed has a right to life, I refuse that. Amnesty should not be hypocritical about it. We have the records worldwide. Nations are governed by the national values, and it is debatable whether those who excuse murderers in the eyes of God are better human beings than those who insist that if you kill, you too should be killed if found guilty of killing. I don't believe that those who want to excuse murderers are on a higher moral ground. It is not about conviction, but about whether I choose to exercise prerogative of mercy. God can have mercy on them, but I am unable, having regard to the overall circumstances of the case, which are killing and dismembering the body of the victim and wanting to sell some of the parts, and some people ask me in the name of human rights to let him live. No, if those saying that were to be victims of such brutality, they would also think otherwise. It is very convenient for them to sit in the comfort of their offices and pontificate about human rights, as if the rights of the victims are not supposed to be taken into account. Parading the suspects, the police said the woman kidnapped at the vegetable market was rescued, but one of the suspects in a video confession said the woman was released after the family paid 8 million nairas ransom. According to the suspect, who identified himself as a 32-year-old Marvelous Isaac from Akwa Ibom State, the ransom money was shared among themselves and some parts given to leaders of a particular community around a Kenwan road axis, saying they gave some parts of the money to the community leaders because the community guns and bullets were parts of the weapons they used in carrying out the crime. Police said another suspect was killed during an exchange of gunfire with the security operatives. According to the police, items recovered from the suspects include a red Lexus RX 350 allegedly used for the operation, a pump-action shotgun, live cartridges, a motorcycle, and over 2 million naira suspected to be proceeds from the crime, including ransom paid by the victim's family. Adding, investigations are ongoing as efforts intensified to track down other members of the kidnapping syndicate. Governor Monday Okpebholo gave a cash reward estimated to be more than 10 million nairas to the police officers that participated in the special operations. Verbatim, Governor Okpebholo said, "Today at the Edo State Police Command Headquarters, I reaffirmed my administration's unwavering commitment to securing our state and protecting law-abiding citizens. Following the kidnapping incident at the vegetable market in Benin City, I directed security agencies to go after the perpetrators. I am pleased that one suspect has been arrested, another was neutralized during the operation, while efforts are ongoing to apprehend the remaining members of the gang. Let me be clear, Edo State will not be a safe haven for kidnappers, cultists, and other criminals. We are taking decisive steps to strengthen our justice system and ensure that anyone found guilty of these heinous crimes faces the full weight of the law." I also commended and rewarded the police officers whose professionalism and bravery led to the arrest of the suspect. Their dedication reflects the results we can achieve when government and security agencies work together with purpose. I urge all Edo people to remain vigilant and continue providing useful information to security agencies. Together, we will make Edo safer, stronger, and more prosperous for everyone. In an earlier event, Governor Okpebholo said criminals in the state are the ones recruiting people from outside the state to come and commit crime in the state, calling on members of the Christian community never to beg police to set free any SSO arrested for any kind of sime in the state. Yesterday, at the Christian Association of Nigeria Ministers Conference in Benin City, I reiterated a message that remains central to our administration's agenda. The security of lives and property is non-negotiable. My administration is deploying every available resource and working closely with security agencies to ensure that criminal elements have no place in Edo State. Anyone found engaging in kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, or any other criminal activity will face the full weight of the law. However, security is not the responsibility of government alone. It is a collective duty. I urge all Edo people to remain vigilant and cooperate with security agencies. If you see something, say something. Timely information can help prevent crime and save lives. Together, we will continue to build a safer, stronger, and more prosperous Edo state for all, Governor Okpebholo stated.
Now we are going to set up a special court to try kidnappers and cultists. Within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we are done with it. And I will sign it, the execution, hanging. I will take you to the roundabout, that is Ring Road roundabout, so that the whole Edo people will see you. And this, I will not have any regret about it. So please don't take my simplicity for granted. Thank you. We are in the bush day and night to make sure that these criminals does not settle down in this state. We are arresting people every now and then. Even yesterday night, day before yesterday night, 3 nights ago, criminals have been arrested. But one thing is this, our own people are also now getting involved. In Egoma this morning, people that were arrested were not Fulanis. At Uromi 3 nights ago, somebody that was arrested is never a Fulani man. Somewhere in Ewora, somebody that was arrested were never Fulani. But do you know one funny thing? Is that our people will now go to the north to go and recruit people to come here to help them do the job. They will kidnap somebody and give it to them in the bush. Why tomorrow you will see them driving an expensive car? You will see them doing this. You will see them building houses. Pastors, I want to beg you in the name of God. Please, when you hear that I get somebody, don't come to beg me. Because our land must be safe. By the grace of God, Edo must be safe.
The cartridge where not they do the operation, the remaining one where you keep them.
Yes. I forgot to say because when I want to give you the sense of the gun, I not forgotten.
Okay, how many is forget for that?
2.
Okay. You are conscious. Open the door.
The tire blow.
How much the motor the one move on the
tire blow.
The fair hold the man, drag the man.
Man of you go inside. Man of you go inside.
I am if you go inside. Yes, so man inside there. Man search inside here. Yes. Okay.
Man follow the fight too.
Okay. I don't see one. Okay, there too.
Don't run. The blessing from me. No, do not run. Blessing at the beginning.
Now be this.
Okay, do not run. Don't come back.
Now be this. Another one see there. Okay.
Now come to the give us.
Huh?
Give us.
How many? The Liberty.
Now be CSO.
Okay, CSO name na Liberty. Now they give you. Why you can't remain this one?
I don't know, I forget.
He no ask you when you go. When you go submit the gun, give him. He no ask you.
No, but I give that one.
That in boy.
That brother with across.
Okay, now you just give her. And they no ask you. Say the remaining one.
Forget.
Okay. Oh, voilà. What do you die your name again? You don't forget before me.
What's your name?
Marvelous Isaac.
Marvelous Isaac. You are from where? Which local government? Where do you live? Where in Edo State? Kamaru. What brought you here?
Yes.
The case of
Kidnapping. Are you a kidnapper?
I can't say no.
Did you kidnap somebody?
And I probably the guy kind of the tire blow. How much the motor the
Yes,
one
you are
move
who?
on the tire blow.
Pressure that covered me.
The fair hold the man, drag
Your
the
car.
man go.
What?
I want to do something.
What's the make of your car?
Now the man that the one carry. Yes, but the man.
Which
is
color?
the man wrong.
Red. Okay. The vehicle was used
follow
to
the
kidnap
fight too.
who? Is
follow the
it a
fight
man
too.
or woman?
It's a woman.
Woman.
Woman don't wrong.
Which day did people carry out the kidnapping?
No, the woman wrong. But I said at the beginning. Okay, the woman wrong.
Sunday.
The woman not come back.
Okay. Where is the woman now?
They catch the woman. Come drag am from that side.
Your releaser. How much did they pay for ransom?
According to the pressure, say the money was 8 million.
8 million. How much reach your hand?
Okay, they catch am, drag am.
Catch the woman. See the way they drag her
Huh?
like
1.5. Is it true that you were arrested by the police?
Yes, sir.
When?
Last night.
Yesterday night. Okay, when you were arrested, what was recovered from you? What did police see for your hand?
Okay, now, community bullet,
Bullet. Cartridges.
Yes.
How many?
It was 2.
2. Where is the gun you're using for that, for the said kidnapping?
It's precious that identify the guns to CSO.
Who is the CSO?
no, the car
What's his name?
Yes.
Liberty. How much will I pay for the renting of the gun?
We are not paid him yet. That was the reason I wanted to go there this morning. I wanted to go to the field this morning so I can go and give him his money.
How much is this money?
And I pop the guy kind of the tire blow.
How much of the one move on that
The
shoot
tire blow.
Okay. Are you aware kidnapping is an offense and it's punishable
They
by
tell
law?
the man, drag the man, go.
Yes, I didn't want to involve myself. This is my first
at
time.
the man that the one
How many of you do the
Yes,
kidnapping?
but the man escaped. The
man
man
go
run.
wrong.
It was precious and
Wrong.
The man follow the fight too.
wisdom.
How many of you now?
The 4 number.
For mention their names.
The woman don't run.
Woman don't wrong. The blessing at the man told me.
I don't know the other person.
No, the woman run. But say not the
Can I
beginning.
come for later?
Okay, the woman run.
Now your motto they
Come
use.
back.
How many guns will I
They
get?
catch the woman.
But I want to
Come drag am from that side.
But according to the pressure, he say all going over there liberty, which is say many.
Many.
Okay,
When they do the when they rent out, they do
Drag
kidnapping.
her for ground like
According to pressure, he say the guy record liberty. So I don't make him feel good and say no give him.
Okay, let me make him meet and say me give you
Then give him.
when I take do the kidnapping. All right. Apart from the bullet, what else will recover from your vehicle? Recover money from your vehicle. The money is there among the money you people collected for ransom.
the other car just
Now the money part of the money wanna collect for
no,
ransom.
the car will papier that.
Yes.
Where they bring wanna take release the woman, right? Now the part of the money be that.
Osazuwa Nephew, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
It was a double victory for the Nigerian North American diaspora community last week as the Ugola and Omoregi families celebrated 2 standout scholars, Miss Ajiroghene Miracle Ugola at York University and Miss Ivie Marianne Omoregi, who studied at Brock University, graduating with first-class honors from the top Canadian universities, as the milestone achievements were anchored by a massive cross-border comrades reunion party that drew family, professionals, and community leaders from across Canada and the United States. The academic festivities officially commenced on June 12, 2026, at the York University graduation ceremonies in Toronto, where Miss Ajiroghene Miracle Ugola achieved a monumental milestone by graduating with first-class honors in computer science. Miss Ajiroghene Miracle Ugola, daughter of prominent human rights activist, Reverend David Ugola, and diaspora figure, Mrs. Ngozi Ugola, clinched first-class honors in computer science. Her feat was celebrated by attendees as a masterclass in determination, intellectual grit, and a shining example for women in STEM fields. Mrs. Ngozi Ugola said her daughter, Ajiroghene's outstanding degree is the culmination of years of intense dedication, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. Friends and family at the reunion party described the scholar as exceptionally resilient, focused, and intellectually driven, saying, she distinguished herself in one of the most competitive fields on campus. Adding, as she transitions into the professional space, she is poised to make significant waves in technology, innovation, and global digital transformation. Sharing the academic spotlight was Miss Ivie Marianne Omoregi, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Steve Omoregi, who graduated with first-class honors in nursing from Brock University. In recognition of her stellar character, academic record, and community impact, Omoregi was also awarded the prestigious Spirit of Brock Medal, a high-level distinction celebrating her campus leadership and commitment to service. The double milestone brought together notable diaspora figures and community pillars, including civil society leader Comrade David Ugola, Jude Mofunai and his wife, Edna, engineer Richard Amode and his wife, Barbara, surveyor Efik, and Afosa Akinjide Kiyode Iasere. Following the formal university ceremonies, the Omoregi family hosted a grand reception in Toronto featuring vibrant music, exceptional hospitality, and intercessory prayers led by engineer Amode. The event transformed into a true reunion of comrades, as guests traveled across several Canadian provinces and US borders to stand in solidarity with the families. We give ultimate praise, honor, and glory to God Almighty for His abundant grace, guidance, and favor throughout this academic journey, the families said in a joint statement. These achievements serve as shining examples of what focus and discipline can accomplish. We are immensely proud as our daughters step into their respective professional careers. According to the renowned global human rights activist, Reverend David Ugola, the atmosphere on the campus was vibrant and inspiring as proud parents, family members, and friends gathered to witness the culmination of years of dedication, sacrifice, perseverance, and hard work. It was a memorable day filled with gratitude, excitement, and celebration. Adding, the graduation festivities were further enriched by the presence of my in-law, Mr. Jude Mofunai, and his beloved wife, Edna, who, together with friends from various parts of Canada and the United States, attended both the graduation ceremony and the celebration that followed. Their presence added warmth, joy, and a strong sense of family and friendship to the occasion. Continuing, Reverend David Ugola thanked engineer Richard Amode, who offered heartfelt prayers and words of encouragement during the celebrations, saying, alongside his beloved wife, Mrs. Barbara Amode, they both contributed immensely to the spiritual upliftment and joyful atmosphere of the gathering. Adding, their support, prayers, and goodwill were deeply appreciated by all. While thanking Mr. and Mrs. Steve Omoregi for jointly hosting the celebrants, Reverend David Ugola said the atmosphere was filled with laughter, excitement, dancing, and heartfelt congratulations as guests celebrated the accomplishments of the graduates. Everyone was delighted to share in the success of Ivier and Ajirogene Miracle, making the event both memorable and inspiring. The hospitality was exceptional, and the warmth and generosity shown by our hosts left a lasting impression on all who attended. Reverend David Ugola also appreciated Surveyor Efik and Afosa Akinjide Kiyode Iasere for their support and solidarity during the daughters' graduation ceremony, saying, as everyone returns safely to their respective homes, we pray that the Lord will continue to guide, protect, and bless each and every one of you. May He grant journey mercies to all travelers and continue to keep our families united in love, peace, prosperity, and good health.
That the education you have got now, you will use it to accomplish what we did not even accomplish. That's a prayer for you guys. And we ask you to continue to remember your parents who went through hoops to get you here. And God continue to give you guys the power to do what you wish. And for God to enrich you guys so that you can help your parents the same way they did. All this we ask in the name of our Jesus Christ. Amen. I'm breaking the Quran now. The red one is the prayer Quran. The white one is just to enjoy Quran. Before I forget, we also have the rectangular.
ABA Marianne Amargay with first class standing. Gianna Ongao, ABA Marianne Amargay with first class standing. Gianna Ongao, ABA Marianne Amargay with first class standing.
Osazuwa Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Barely 48 hours after a serving police officer on May 25, 2026 at Uelu area of Agida quarters in Benin City tear gas a resident to death, Matthew Akubo, a tricycle rider who is also said to be an ex-police officer of an elderly age. A more devastating tragedy was apparently averted on May 27, 2026 at the Samuel Ogbomodia Stadium during the 2026 Children's Day celebration when some security operatives used pepper spray on school children who came for the celebration, an action capable of causing death, but the chief medical director, Edo Specialist Hospital, Dr. Antonia Njoku denied and dismissed the claims that about 5 children died as a result of the incident, and the Edo command of the Nigeria Police Force in a press statement failed to state if there was any death casualty or not, but stated that 4 persons including the seller of the pepper spray chemical substance have been arrested and detained in connection with the Children's Day incident, adding that the policeman who caused the death of the tricycle rider has been in detention waiting to be arraigned for possible act of murder. Our research study shows that a less lethal weapon of chemical substances like tear gas and pepper spray may be seen as an act of deliberate murder or attempted murder if used on a closed range, enclosed environment like hall, big or small, because the chemical substances from our assessment are meant only to be used on a long-range open-air outdoor spaces where people have alternatives means to run and leave the contaminated areas, and in line with global standard on the use of the chemical substances. Tear gas is never meant to be used on vulnerable populations or individuals with medical conditions, as international bodies like the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, and health organizations warn it can cause permanent injury, severe complications, or death. In addition, the chemical causes instant airway constriction that can trigger fatal respiratory failure in people with asthma or COPD, a severe risk that prompted the American Thoracic Society, ATS, to call for a total moratorium on its use, because, simultaneously, the intense physical stress can induce cardiac arrest in those with heart disease, as documented by Physicians for Human Rights, PHR, and according to strict deployment standards from Amnesty International, infants and young children face significantly higher risks because their developing lungs breathe faster, and heavy gas vapors settle near the ground. Pregnant individuals face severe risks of premature labor or miscarriage, a danger highlighted in field reports by National Nurses United and reproductive toxicology data published by the National Institutes of Health, NIH. Also, the elderly suffer prolonged tissue damage due to a reduced physical ability to flee. And finally, the American Lung Association warns that people with eye conditions, especially contact lens wearers, can suffer chemical burns and permanent vision loss from trapped toxins. Though legally, while the Chemical Weapons Convention, CWC, permits domestic law enforcement usage, the UN guidance on less lethal weapons explicitly dictates that police operations must give special consideration to these protected groups to avoid unlawful, disproportionate force. According to some residents who witnessed the incident, the commercial tricycle operator, Matthew Akubo, was killed by the serving police officer at Osabo Lane around Uelu section in Agida area of Benin City, the Edo state capital, when the policeman allegedly used the tear gas on him at a very closed range over a minor argument. The killing prompted the commercial tricycle operators, popularly known as keke riders in the area, to protest and block some sections of the Uelu road in the Agida quarters, demanding justice for their slain colleague. It was gathered that the victim was rushed to the hospital but was pronounced dead thereafter. Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force in a press statement issued on June 1, 2026 and made available by the Command Public Relations Officer, ASP Eno Akiodum stated that, the Edo State Police Command has expressed grave concern over the increasing proliferation, unauthorized possession, and unlawful use of restricted security accoutrements such as pepper spray, tear gas canisters, and other force-related equipment by private individuals, bounces, vigilantes, and unauthorized security outfits within the state. It frowns on the use of such items without proper training, or regard for public safety, thereby endangering innocent lives and creating avoidable public disorder. It would be recalled that on the 25th of May 2026, a police officer attached to the command unlawfully discharged tear gas at Agida, Benin City, an incident which unfortunately led to the loss of a life. The officer involved was immediately arrested and subjected to disciplinary and criminal procedures in line with extant laws. Similarly, on the 27th of May 2026, during the Children's Day celebration held at the Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium, Benin City, pepper spray was unlawfully discharged within the stadium premises by private bouncers, causing panic and affecting several children and other attendees of the event. Following diligent investigation into the incident, the command has arrested 3 bouncers connected to the unlawful act, namely, Afenyi John Paul, aged 36 years, Ola Ibekunle, aged 46 years, Onaha Chukwuoji, aged 33 years. Further investigation also led to the arrest of one Mrs. Rebecca Hassan, alleged to be the supplier, seller of the pepper spray used during the incident. The command views the unauthorized use of such devices as assault, or acts capable of causing grievous harm, and in certain circumstances, death. Consequently, unlawful possession of these items with intent to commit felony and other related offenses is viewed as criminal under the law. In view of the foregoing, the Edo State Police Command hereby issues a stern warning to all individuals, private security personnel, bouncers, vigilante groups, and unauthorized organizations in possession of pepper spray, tear gas, or related restricted security equipment to immediately desist from such unlawful possession and usage. Henceforth, any person found in possession of such prohibited or unauthorized police, security accoutrements, including sellers, distributors, and suppliers, will be arrested and prosecuted accordingly. The Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, CP Monday Agbonika, FDC, reassures residents that the command remains committed to protecting the rights of citizens and will not tolerate any act capable of threatening public peace and safety within the state. Meanwhile, on the Children's Day tragedy, the Office of the Press Secretary to the Edo State Governor in a press release issued on May 28, 2026 and made available by Patrick Akierebajele, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, the Chief Medical Director, Edo Specialist Hospital, Dr. Antonia Njoku, has clarified the social media reports alleging that 5 pupils died during the Children's Day celebration at the Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium. Njoku made the clarification on Thursday in Benin, while addressing newsmen. Yesterday, May 27th, we were called in for an emergency response and we responded swiftly and appropriately to some of the children which were evacuated by our ambulance to our facility. Resuscitation measures started immediately and to God be the glory, we have no casualty, the children are all stable and we want to thank our governor for his continuous support, she said. Speaking on why the children were seen on the floor of the hospital, Njoku explained that they placed them on the floor for an effective resuscitation which some of the children needed. You needed to put some of these children on hard surfaces to be able to resuscitate them. That's why we even have some of them on the floor. Our goal at that point was to make sure that there was no casualty. We want to use this medium to thank our able governor for his passion for children, she added. In her response, the coordinator, Office of the First Lady of Edo, Mrs. Idasili Okpebholo Anani, noted that she was at the hospital on a fact-finding mission concerning the incident that happened during the Children's Day celebration. I have had a conversation with the CMD, the children are fine and they have been discharged and we are happy. I want to thank the management of the hospital for their swift response. The governor would have loved to be here, but he is out for other official engagements. He had directed that I should come on my fact-finding mission to see what is happening, she said. She, however, described what happened during the Children's Day celebration as unfortunate, but the good news was that response came fast, adding that safety of our children remains the priority of this administration. Also present at the hospital was the Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Dr. Iyamu, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mrs. Ebomoni. In earlier press release issued on May 27, 2026, Ebojele stated that the Edo state government wishes to address some misleading social media narratives about today's Children's Day incident at the Samuel Ogbamudia Stadium. We hereby reject the sensational interpretations, spins, twists, and misinformation that were dubiously orchestrated to give the government a bad name. The stadium was filled to capacity with thousands of excited children who came to participate in the day's activities. The turnout was unprecedented. All the entrances into the facility were opened for children to access the stadium. Some excited children resorted to unruly behavior at one of the gates, an incident that led to some kind of stampede which necessitated one of the bouncers to deploy the use of tear gas to disperse them. In the course of the pandemonium that ensued, few students sustained injuries. The Deputy Governor, Right Honourable Dennis Idahosa, who was physically present at the stadium, rose to the challenge immediately, assisting children with first aids, and those requiring further care were taken to the Edo Specialist Hospital where they received appropriate medical attention and are now safely back home with their families. The Edo state government has already authorized investigations into the incident while the bouncer involved is presently being interrogated by the police to ascertain the immediate or remote cause of the incident. The government wishes to restate its commitment to the safety and security of all, including our children. We, however, call on social media users to refrain from unverified narratives that could cause unnecessary panic. Isolated incidents at large gatherings, while regrettable, do not diminish Governor Okpebholo's commitment to child safety and well-being. The governor's unparalleled investment in education is the reason for the huge attendance by students of different schools in the state to celebrate Children's Day. We thank the security personnel, medical staff, and volunteers for their swift response and dedication to duty. Their immediate response helped to douse the tension. However, the American Lung Association, in its report on January 20, 2026, stated in part that crowd control agents, often referred to as tear gas, are chemicals that cause skin, respiratory, and eye irritation. Some of the most common chemicals used are chloroacetonone, CN, which is a toxic air pollutant, chlorobenzidine CS, chloropicrin, PS, bromobenzyl cyanide, Ca, and dibenzoxazepine, Cr. While tear gas is typically perceived as causing mostly short-term health impacts, there is evidence of permanent disability in some cases. In general, exposure to tear gas can cause chest tightness, coughing, a choking sensation, wheezing and shortness of breath, in addition to a burning sensation in the eyes, mouth and nose, blurred vision and difficulty swallowing. Tear gas can also cause chemical burns, allergic reactions and respiratory distress. People with pre-existing respiratory conditions, such as asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, have a higher risk of developing severe symptoms of the disease that could lead to respiratory failure. Long-term health effects from tear gas are more likely if exposed for a prolonged period or to a high dose while in an enclosed area. In these instances, it can lead to blindness, glaucoma or respiratory failure, possibly resulting in death. If exposed to tear gas, the American Lung Association advises you to immediately distance yourself from the source and seek higher ground, if possible. Flush your eyes with water and use a gentle soap, such as baby shampoo, to wash your face to reduce skin and eye irritation. Cut your clothes off rather than pulling them over your head to remove. Leaving the area immediately for fresh air should help relieve respiratory symptoms you may experience. If you are living with chronic lung disease, or are experiencing lasting or worrisome symptoms, let your healthcare provider know about your exposure. If breathing trouble persists or worsens, Seek medical attention immediately.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum may have given a clearer picture and addressed some fundamental issues in the press release issued by the Nigerian Army on Saturday that caused mixed reactions among members of the public, especially Borno youths under the umbrella body of Borno South Youth Alliance. Bossia, who had condemned the military for saying in the press release that its men rescued 360 out of the 416 women and children held hostage by the Boko Haram terrorists based on intelligence-driven efforts that made the terrorists to flee and abandoned their victims upon citing the superior power of the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, with some of the terrorists arrested, but the state governor, Babagana Zulum, while speaking during his assessment visit to Pulka community on Monday, said 434 victims out of the total numbers of people kidnapped early this year in Ngosh community by the Boko Haram terrorists have regained freedom, specifically stating that 357 captives walked free in the latest coordinated effort. Other captives have been released in phases over the preceding months, bringing the total number of freed captives to 434. We had reported that youths in Borno State under the umbrella body of Borno South Youth Alliance. Bossia has insisted that the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did nothing to secure the release of the 416 women and children held hostage by Boko Haram terrorists for more than 90 days. They were taken into the bush since March 2026. Also, the youth group dismissed and rejected the report of the Nigerian army, who had alleged that its men rescued 360 out of the 416 people held hostage through intelligence-driven efforts, saying they have an audio record of the conversation they had with the Boko Haram terrorists on Friday, June 5, 2026, before the Boko Haram terrorists decided to release the captives willingly, adding, if they paid ransom, they should come out and tell Nigerians, which we have the full details if ransoms was paid or not, as Senator Ali Ndume automatically started thanking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is there something Nigerians need to know that is hidden? It may be recalled that we have reported that barely a day after President Donald Trump of the United States of America, the USA announced the killing of Abu Bilal al-Minuki, the second in command of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS, in a joint operation with Nigeria soldiers in Borno State. A new video of the abducted 416 women and children in Boko Haram captivity has been released, in addition to a gory video earlier released by the terrorists wherein they beheaded almost 6 men who the insurgents said tried to escape among the kidnapped victims. This had led to public outcry and demonstrations. But according to Punch newspaper, protesters are reportedly denied the rights to protest in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, saying the army reportedly deployed tanks and heavily armed personnel to Filling Polo, the venue of the recent planned protest, forcing the demonstrators to withdraw, quoting Samela Kaigama, leader of the protesters, as saying, the atmosphere created by the military deployment made it impossible for citizens to continue with the demonstration, that the development is deeply disturbing in a constitutional democracy. It may also be recalled that we had reported that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria may have kept mute since more than 48 hours a faction of the Boko Haram terrorists showed off 416 people, mostly women and children, kidnapped and held hostage when the members of the Jama'atu Ali Sunnah Lidawati wal Jihad, JAZ, launched a large-scale combat actions between 4th to the 6th of March 2026 against the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, overran the Africa country military base at Ngosh, killing several soldiers, a figure the Nigeria Authority disputed to be 14 after several reports indicated that more than 40 soldiers were killed during the attack, in addition to more than 100 civilians, including Chief Imam of Ngosh alongside the community elders, killed during the coordinated attacks that lasted days at Ngosh community in Gwoza local government area of Borno State. During the attacks, numbers of people were also taken hostage by the insurgents, with speculations indicating that the hostages are apparently being held at the rugged terrain of the Mandara Mountains, which sit wide across the Nigeria border with Cameroon. In the released video, one of the spokespersons of the Boko Haram group said they decided to release a proof-of-life video of the 416 women and children in their captivity, following the demands made across to them by the Borno South Youths Alliance, BOSYA, and according to the statement issued by the BOSYA when they made the video public on Friday, April 10, 2026. The youths group called on federal government and governments at all levels to ensure the hostages are released, saying specifically that, "We have witnessed cases in states such as Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, and Kebbi where abducted victims regained freedom following interventions by individuals such as Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. We therefore expect equal urgency and commitment in addressing the plight of the Ngosh victims. No region or group of citizens should be treated with less priority." Dauda Aliya, the spokesperson and media advisor to the Borno State Governor, in a news release he issued and made available some hours ago, said the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, has lauded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his role in securing the freedom of 434 residents of Ngosh community, who were abducted over a year ago during a violent raid on the town. Speaking in Pulka on Monday, Governor Zulum confirmed that the latest release comprises 357 persons, while approximately 82 others had regained their freedom spontaneously in smaller batches over the period since their abduction. The victims were originally taken from Ngosh, a border town in Gwoza local government area of Borno State, following an attack by suspected Boko Haram insurgents early this year. Zulum particularly praised President Tinubu for his personal intervention and commitment towards restoring peace, which he said accelerated the negotiation and rescue process. "I want to express my deepest appreciation, on behalf of the government and people of Borno State and Gwoza community in particular, to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for all the efforts that he has been making in ensuring the return of peace and stability not only to Borno State but to the entire country," Zulum stated. Zulum also extended commendations to the Nigerian military, the Department of State Services, DSS, and all other security agencies involved in the operation, acknowledging their professionalism and coordination. "I also want to use this opportunity to commend the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Department of State Security and all other security agencies, including our gallant civilian JTF, forest guards, vigilante and hunters, who have participated immensely in ensuring the release of these abducted men, women and children," Zulum added. He explained that while 357 captives walked free in the latest coordinated effort, other captives had been released in phases over the preceding months, bringing the total number of freed captives to 434. "We are here to felicitate with Ngosh community following the release of the abducted women and children numbering about 434. What we saw this morning is about 360 released 2 days ago. But some 2 to 3 weeks ago, we also received about other persons, totaling about 434, Zulum explained. According to the governor, government has released millions of naira to rehabilitate the Ngosh community. So far, the work is nearly complete. We are also interfacing with the community about their return to Ngosh. Those that are willing to return, we are working with the Nigerian military to establish institutional arrangements that will ensure their safe and dignified return." Zulum also directed the distribution of relief materials, comprising food and non-food items, to all the released persons as part of the immediate intervention. The rescued individuals are currently receiving medical and psychological support in a government facility, after which they will be reintegrated into their communities. It would be recalled that the Nigerian army in a press statement titled, "Operation Haddon Kai executes unprecedented intelligence-led rescue operation, frees 360 abductees from Jazz stronghold in the Mandara Mountains," had stated that, in one of the most significant hostage rescue operations conducted in the Northeast Theater in recent times, troops of the Joint Task Force, Northeast, Operation Hadankai, OPHK, comprising Special Forces and troops of Sector 1, have successfully rescued 360 abductees from a heavily fortified Jama'atu Ali's Sana Lidawati Wal Jihad, Jazz, enclave deep within the Mandara Mountains area of southern Borno State. The operation, which was the culmination of weeks of painstaking intelligence preparation, covert reconnaissance, and operational planning, resulted in the safe recovery of men, women, and children who had been held in captivity under harsh conditions after being abducted from several communities, particularly within the Ngosh axis. The successful rescue underscores the growing operational reach, intelligence dominance, and tactical superiority of OPHK in denying terrorists freedom of action and protecting vulnerable populations across the theater. The operation was initiated following the receipt of credible and corroborated intelligence from multiple sources indicating the precise location of the hostages and the existence of an elaborate insurgent support network sustaining the enclave. OPHK intelligence elements subsequently launched an extensive target development process involving the integration of human intelligence, signals intelligence, SIGINT, and persistent intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance (ISR) operations conducted through unmanned aerial systems and long-range reconnaissance patrols. Through sustained intelligence collection and analysis, commanders developed a comprehensive understanding of the terrain, insurgent disposition, defensive arrangements, movement patterns, and the condition of the abductees. This intelligence-driven approach enabled the force to accurately map the objective area, identify vulnerabilities within the terrorist network, and significantly reduce risks to the hostages during the rescue mission. A decisive breakthrough was achieved through the successful penetration of the terrorist network by carefully cultivated intelligence assets operating under the supervision of OPHK military intelligence personnel. These assets provided timely and actionable intelligence regarding the exact locations of the abductees, the disposition of insurgent commanders, internal security measures, and planned relocation routes. Simultaneously, carefully coordinated information and psychological operations created uncertainty and mistrust within the insurgent ranks, degrading their cohesion and disrupting command and control arrangements. The resulting intelligence advantage provided OPHK with unprecedented situational awareness and enabled commanders to shape the operational environment well before the commencement of the assault phase. Acting on confirmed intelligence, OPHK Special Forces and troops of Sector 1 launched a meticulously coordinated multi-axis operation designed to isolate the objective area, dominate key terrain, and prevent insurgent reinforcement or withdrawal. Supported by real-time ISR feeds, assault forces infiltrated the objective area under the cover of darkness while blocking forces established positions along likely escape routes. The operation achieved complete tactical surprise, overwhelming the terrorists before an organized response could be mounted. Faced with the speed, precision, and overwhelming combat power of the advancing troops, several insurgents abandoned their positions and fled into surrounding mountainous terrain, while others surrendered. The hostages were swiftly secured, medically screened, and evacuated from the objective area. Regrettably, 2 infants succumbed to exhaustion occasioned by the extremely challenging mountainous terrain and the hardships endured during the prolonged captivity. The remaining rescued abductees were successfully evacuated to safe locations for medical care and humanitarian support, marking a major operational success and a significant setback for the terrorist group. The military high command has commended the courage, professionalism, and exceptional discipline displayed by all personnel involved in the operation. The military high command noted that the successful rescue of 360 abductees reflects the effectiveness of intelligence-led operations, the growing synergy among security stakeholders, and the unwavering resolve of the armed forces of Nigeria to protect innocent citizens and restore lasting peace to affected communities. The military high command further reassured the public that aggressive follow-on exploitation and clearance operations are ongoing to neutralize residual terrorist elements, dismantle remaining support networks, and prevent future abductions. The military stated as signed and made available by Lieutenant Colonel Haruna Sani, the acting media information officer. Joint Task Force, Northeast, Operation Haddon Kai. President of Borno South Youth Alliance, Sumaila Kigama had in a number of press releases refuted the claim that the 360 women and children were rescued, saying he had an audio conversation with the Boko Haram terrorists on Friday, and during the conversation, the Boko Haram terrorists agreed to set free the captives with some still held hostage, hoping to be released on later date.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Youths in Borno State under the umbrella body of Borno South Youth Alliance. Bosnia has insisted that the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did nothing to secure the release of the 416 women and children held hostage by Boko Haram terrorists for more than 90 days. They were taken into the bush since March 2026. Also, the youth group dismissed and rejected the report of the Nigerian army, who had alleged that its men rescued 360 out of the 416 people held hostage through intelligence-driven efforts, saying they have an audio record of the conversation they had with the Boko Haram terrorists on Friday, June 5, 2026, before the Boko Haram terrorists decided to release the captives willingly, adding, if they paid ransom, they should come out and tell Nigerians, which we have the full details if ransoms was paid or not, as Senator Ali Ndume automatically started thanking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is there something Nigerians need to know that is hidden? It may be recalled that we have reported that barely a day after President Donald Trump of the United States of America, the USA announced the killing of Abu Bilal al-Minuki, the second in command of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS, in a joint operation with Nigeria soldiers in Borno State. A new video of the abducted 416 women and children in Boko Haram captivity has been released, in addition to a gory video earlier released by the terrorists wherein they beheaded almost 6 men who the insurgents said tried to escape among the kidnapped victims. This had led to public outcry and demonstrations, but according to Punch newspaper, protesters are reportedly denied the rights to protest in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, saying, the army reportedly deployed tanks and heavily armed personnel to Filling Polo, the venue of the recent planned protest, forcing the demonstrators to withdraw, quoting Sumaila Kigama, leader of the protesters, as saying, the atmosphere created by the military deployment made it impossible for citizens to continue with the demonstration, that the development is deeply disturbing in a constitutional democracy. It may also be recalled that we had reported that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria may have kept mute since more than 48 hours. A faction of the Boko Haram terrorists showed off 416 people, mostly women and children, kidnapped and held hostage when the members of the Jama'atu Ali's Sana Lidawati wal Jihad, JAZ, launched a large-scale combat actions between 4th to the 6th of March 2026 against the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, overran the Africa country military base at Ngosh, killing several soldiers, a figure the Nigeria Authority disputed to be 14 after several reports indicated that more than 40 soldiers were killed during the attack, in addition to more than 100 civilians, including Chief Imam of Ngosh alongside the community elders, killed during the coordinated attacks that lasted days at Ngosh community in Gwoza local government area of Borno State. During the attacks, numbers of people were also taken hostage by the insurgents, with speculations indicating that the hostages are apparently being held at the rugged terrain of the Mandara Mountains, which sit wide across the Nigeria border with Cameroon. In the released video, one of the spokespersons of the Boko Haram group said they decided to release a proof-of-life video of the 416 women and children in their captivity, following the demands made across to them by the Borno South Youth Alliance, Bosnia, and according to the statement issued by the Bosnia when they made the video public on Friday, April 10, 2026. The youths group called on federal government and governments at all levels to ensure the hostages are released, saying specifically that, we have witnessed cases in states such as Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, and Kebbi, where abducted victims regained freedom following interventions by individuals such as Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. We therefore expect equal urgency and commitment in addressing the plight of the Ngosh victims. No region or group of citizens should be treated with less priority. Nigerian Army, in a press release issued and made available on Saturday by Lieutenant Colonel Haruna Sani, the acting media information officer of Northeast Operation Haddon Kai Joint Task Force, said, and in quotes, that in one of the most significant hostage rescue operations conducted in the Northeast Theater in recent times, troops of the Joint Task Force, Northeast Operation Haddon Kai, OPHK, comprising Special Forces and troops of Sector 1, have successfully rescued 360 abductees from a heavily fortified Jama'atu Ali's Sana Lidawati Wal Jihad Jazz enclave deep within the Mandara Mountains area of southern Borno State. The operation, which was the culmination of weeks of painstaking intelligence preparation, covert reconnaissance, and operational planning, resulted in the safe recovery of men, women, and children who had been held in captivity under harsh conditions after being abducted from several communities, particularly within the Ngosh axis. The successful rescue underscores the growing operational reach, intelligence dominance, and tactical superiority of OPHK in denying terrorists freedom of action and protecting vulnerable populations across the theater. The operation was initiated following the receipt of credible and corroborated intelligence from multiple sources indicating the precise location of the hostages and the existence of an elaborate insurgent support network sustaining the enclave. OPHK intelligence elements subsequently launched an extensive target development process involving the integration of human intelligence, HUMINT, signals intelligence, SIGINT, and persistent intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance (ISR) operations conducted through unmanned aerial systems and long-range reconnaissance patrols. Through sustained intelligence collection and analysis, commanders developed a comprehensive understanding of the terrain, insurgent disposition, defensive arrangements, movement patterns, and the condition of the abductees. This intelligence-driven approach enabled the force to accurately map the objective area, identify vulnerabilities within the terrorist network, and significantly reduce risks to the hostages during the rescue mission. A decisive breakthrough was achieved through the successful penetration of the terrorist network by carefully cultivated intelligence assets operating under the supervision of OPHK military intelligence personnel. These assets provided timely and actionable intelligence regarding the exact locations of the abductees, the disposition of insurgent commanders, internal security measures, and planned relocation routes. Simultaneously, carefully coordinated information and psychological operations created uncertainty and mistrust within the insurgent ranks, degrading their cohesion and disrupting command and control arrangements. The resulting intelligence advantage provided OPHK with unprecedented situational awareness and enabled commanders to shape the operational environment well before the commencement of the assault phase. Acting on confirmed intelligence, OPHK Special Forces and troops of Sector 1 launched a meticulously coordinated multi-axis operation designed to isolate the objective area, dominate key terrain, and prevent insurgent reinforcement or withdrawal. Supported by real-time ISR feeds, assault forces infiltrated the objective area under the cover of darkness, while blocking forces established positions along likely escape routes. The operation achieved complete tactical surprise, overwhelming the terrorists before an organized response could be mounted. Faced with the speed, precision, and overwhelming combat power of the advancing troops, several insurgents abandoned their positions and fled into surrounding mountainous terrain, while others surrendered. The hostages were swiftly secured, medically screened, and evacuated from the objective area. Regrettably, 2 infants succumbed to exhaustion occasioned by the extremely challenging mountainous terrain and the hardships endured during the prolonged captivity. The remaining rescued abductees were successfully evacuated to safe locations for medical care and humanitarian support, marking a major operational success and a significant setback for the terrorist group. The military high command has commended the courage, professionalism, and exceptional discipline displayed by all personnel involved in the operation. The military high command noted that the successful rescue of 360 abductees reflects the effectiveness of intelligence-led operations, the growing synergy among security stakeholders, and the unwavering resolve of the armed forces of Nigeria to protect innocent citizens and restore lasting peace to affected communities. The military high command further reassured the public that aggressive follow-on exploitation and clearance operations are ongoing to neutralize residual terrorist elements, dismantle remaining support networks, and prevent future abductions. The Nigeria military statement ends in quotes. Immediately, the Borno South Youth Alliance, Bossia, responded and said, Borno South Youth Alliance, Bossia, through its president, brought the issue of the 416 women and children kidnapped by Boko Haram sometimes around March 2026 to light, put in every necessary bravery-related efforts and got his requests granted, which one was to make a video, proof of life. At first they were not willing to negotiate or discuss, but after extensive discussions and acknowledgement of our efforts towards the grassroots, the Imam, top command, agreed, and we had talks for weeks. Bossia will be releasing or has released voice notes of our final discussions, which was done Friday 5th of June 2026, and Nigerians will clearly hear them admit the reasons they released them and how Borno South Youth Alliance, Bossia, President Sumaila Ibrahim Kaigama's efforts made them agree to release the kidnapped victims, contrary to what some media outlets are carrying about a rescue or government boys and followers are claiming glory for our efforts. If they paid ransom, they should come out and tell Nigerians, which we have the full details if ransom was paid or not, as Senator Ali Ndume automatically started thanking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is there something Nigerians need to know that is hidden? Only Bossia President knows the hidden facts, and hopefully he is ready to talk about some secrets that might shake Nigeria and possibly the world. In another press release, the group said that Borno South Youth Alliance, Bossia, is happy to announce to the general public that our cries, advocacy, and efforts regarding the Ngosh 416 women and children have begun to yield positive results. Yesterday, through the efforts of our President, Sumaila Ibrahim Kaigama, communications were held, and we were informed that most, if not all, of the victims would be released. As you read this message, that process has already begun. Before any politician or political personal assistants claim glory for this development, we will back our efforts with voice notes 24 hours plus before their release. Watch them claim glory for zero efforts. We are happy and grateful that, through our efforts, our persistent cries, and long discussions, the results are now being seen. The Bossia President has been a solid force behind these humanitarian mediations, negotiations, and discussions, and this is what leadership is about, standing for the people, speaking for the voiceless, and working tirelessly to save lives. To the Ngosh women and children who were released tonight, welcome home. Your return brings hope, joy, and relief to southern Borno. We also call on the federal government, Borno state government, and the relevant local government authorities to properly screen.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Lebanon is a sovereign country that has been a founding member of the United Nations since 1945, but, on several occasions, Israel has made an attempt to be in control of some areas of the sovereign nation. Lebanon, which is a small country of approximately 10,500 square kilometers, out of which, about 3,000 square kilometers are perhaps currently under the control and capture of Israeli armed forces since the State of Israel began the War of Redemption in 2025, a military operation targeting Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon, which the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, in a nationwide video broadcast on Sunday, said, over 8,000 Hezbollah fighters have been killed, ordered Israeli troops to expand more into Lebanon, and commended men and women of the Israel Defense Forces of retaking or recapturing Beaufort, a 900-year-old castle city in Lebanon that perched on a high ridge overlooking the Litani River Valley with a good tactical and strategic military viewpoint over southern Lebanon, the western Bekaa Valley and northern Israel. the highly valued military fortress was previously occupied by Israel between 1982 and year 2000, and its reoccupation by Israel on Saturday night has triggered emergency United Nations Security Council meeting. According to the French Foreign Minister, Jean-Noël Barrot, France has called for emergency UN Security Council meeting over Israel expansion into more Lebanon's territory, stating to BFM TV News Network on Sunday that while France recognizes Israel's right to self-defense, nothing can justify the continuation of Israeli military operations in Lebanon and its ever deeper occupation of Lebanese territory, and Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a statement on Sunday via its social media handles, said, "These are photos from the precise IDF operation in the Beaufort Ridge and Wadi Saluki area in southern Lebanon. IDF troops located weapons in the village of Zortar al-Shakia, further proof of Hezbollah's presence inside civilian areas in southern Lebanon." Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the nationwide broadcast said, and in quotes, that, "Last night, our heroic fighters captured the Beaufort Castle. They proudly raised the flag of the State of Israel and the flag of the Golani Brigade there. I remind you that 44 years ago, this place was a symbol of a heroic battle by our fighters, but it was also a symbol of deep division among us. Today, we return to Beaufort differently. We returned united, determined, and stronger than ever. I spoke with the fighters on the northern border on Friday. They told me, tell the people of Israel what we are doing here. Prime Minister, the public doesn't know what achievements we have made. Well, since the beginning of the War of Redemption we have eliminated 8,000 Hezbollah terrorists. Since Operation Roaring Lion 3,000. In the past month alone 700. This is more than everyone we eliminated during the Second Lebanon War. I have instructed the IDF to expand the incursion in Lebanon. Our forces have crossed the Litani River. They took dominant terrain. They captured the Beaufort Ridge. And now my instruction is to deepen and expand our hold on places that were under Hezbollah's control. The capture of Beaufort is a dramatic stage and a dramatic change in the policy we are leading. We have broken the barrier of fear. We are taking the initiative. We are operating on all fronts. In Syria, in Gaza, in Lebanon. We have established security zones beyond our borders to protect our communities. On Friday, I spoke with the brigade commanders. Their daring brigade commanders, inside the territory, leading the heroic soldiers. And they told me, Prime Minister, we are carrying out the mission. We are charging forward, and Hezbollah is fleeing for its life. And I told them, I am with you. The entire nation of Israel is with you. It will take more time, but we will restore security to the residents of the north, just as we did for the residents of the south. It will take time, but we will complete the mission. Israel Defense Forces in a separate post on Sunday stated that the IDF launched an operation, beginning a few days ago, in the Beaufort Ridge and Wadi al-Saluki area in southern Lebanon in order to dismantle terrorist infrastructure, eliminate terrorists and remove direct threats to Israeli civilians. The operation is focused on establishing operational control of the Beaufort Ridge and the Wadi al-Saluki area, as well as degrading Hezbollah and dismantling terrorist infrastructure that was established on the ridge under Iranian direction. From Beaufort Ridge, Hezbollah terrorists managed military and combat activities and carried out numerous attacks. The IDF has crossed the Litani River and expanded its operations against Hezbollah targets north of the river. The operation is currently expanding to additional areas. It would be recalled that Lebanon got independence from France on November 22, 1943, and in an interview with BFM TV on Sunday, the French Foreign Affairs Minister, Jean-Noël Barrot, stated that nothing can justify the prolongation of Israel's military operations in Lebanon and its increasingly deep occupation of Lebanese territory. This is a major mistake for Israel, he added. Barrett's statements come as the IDF confirmed it had taken control of Beaufort Castle in Lebanon, a position it had not held since withdrawing in May 2000. Beaufort was originally a French Crusader period castle in the region. In the same interview, Barrot also called for Iran and the US to reach a peace deal, describing the current situation as untenable. We feel the consequences of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz on a daily basis, at the pump, and more generally with its impact on the global economy and on the French economy. So this has to stop, he stated. He also said that the planning work is advanced regarding the mission to guarantee freedom of movement through the Strait of Hormuz.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Information from the Office of the Special Advisor to the Nigerian President, Bayo Onanuga, has shown apparent strong indications that the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu may use the act of trumped-up allegation to harass, intimidate, arrest and detain one of the president anti-2027 re-election activists who is also the president and founder of the racial movements, Martin Vincent Otts aka Ibori, following a widely circulated acclaimed leaked telephone voice record of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wherein the president was portrayed to have made statements capable of causing anarchy in the country, instigating and inciting the people against the president in a manner that can collapse the government and cause uncontrollable deaths. This, the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, seems to have wrongly or deliberately attributed the dissemination of the acclaimed leaked telephone voice record to Ibori in a tweet the presidential spokesperson issued via X social media platform at about 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning, which, the presidential spokesperson said, this VDM needs to face the weight of the law for being the conveyor and disseminator of a fake audio of President Tinubu. This is a clear case of an egregious abuse of the social media platform. A careful study of some news media reports over the acclaimed leaked telephone audio record shows some of the media attributed the dissemination and the origin of the acclaimed leaked telephone record to Ibori, but none of the media companies was able to satisfy the basic principles or standards of news writing and publishing, which requires the media companies to provide or state when and where Ibori disseminated such information, an action that shows there may be high-level conspiracy to arrest and keep the anti-government activist in a perpetual detention till after 2027 general elections with possible trumped-up allegations of treasonable count charges or alleged acts to endanger national security. For the purpose of clarity, trumped-up allegation, according to Cambridge Online Dictionary, it is an allegation that is deliberately based on false information so that someone will be accused of doing something wrong and punished. Our investigation indicates that a video published by Ibori via his Instagram account on Tuesday, May 26, 2026 about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2023 pre-election campaign promises, wherein the president had said if he does not give Nigerians stable power or electricity supply in his first 4 years in office, the people should not vote for him for the second time. The video published by Ibori while in China seems to be the one suspicious mischief makers altered and inserted the acclaimed leaked telephone voice record of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to create apparent false and misleading information capable of causing anarchy in the country with obvious intention to give the government the opportunity to harass, intimidate, arrest and detain the anti-government activist, Ibori till after the 2027 general elections. Verbatim, in quotes, Sahara reporters reported that the Nigerian presidential aide, Bayo Onanuga, has lashed out at social media influencer, Martin Vincent Otts, popularly known as VDM, over the circulation of what he described as a fake audio recording purportedly linked to President Bola Tinubu, insisting that the matter should attract legal consequences. In a statement issued on Wednesday, May 27, 2026, Onanuga accused VDM of abusing social media platforms through the dissemination of false information capable of misleading the public and damaging the image of the president. This VDM needs to face the weight of the law for being the conveyor and disseminator of a fake audio of President Tinubu. This is a clear case of an egregious abuse of the social media platform, Onanuga stated. The controversy followed a video posted earlier by Martin Vincent Otts, also known as VDM, in which he claimed to have obtained an audio recording allegedly featuring President Tinubu speaking on the country's political situation, insecurity, and the 2027 elections. Introducing the recording in the video, VDM said, "After this audio that I am about to play, I would ask if they cook Nigerians who will support Tinubu in 2027 or you guys are okay." The audio clip played in the video allegedly featured Tinubu making controversial remarks regarding attempts to remove him from office, insecurity in the southeast, and borrowing from the World Bank. In the purported recording, the voice alleged to be that of the president said, "They have been trying to take me out of the position but it's not possible. Mind you, I am winning this election. I do not care whatever is happening. Nigerians deserve it." The voice in the audio further stated, "Because when I was running as a president, they did not want me, now all of a sudden they want me to rescue them from insecurity." Another section of the recording allegedly quoted the president as saying, "I called Peter Obi to step down for me but he refused. I am not begging him again. I will do whatsoever in my mind and I will make sure the insecurity affects the people in Southeast more." The purported audio also contained comments about foreign loans and insecurity, claiming, "Listen, I am going to borrow more and more money from the World Bank. I won't like to stop this insecurity because if I do, how will our party be able to win elections? Think about it, even the loans I am taking is to fund them." However, Onanuga dismissed the audio as fabricated and accused VDM of deliberately spreading falsehood. The presidential aide maintained that the circulation of manipulated or unverified materials on social media poses serious dangers to public trust, national security, and democratic stability. The presidency has not indicated whether legal proceedings would immediately be initiated against the social media influencer. Martins Vincent is yet to also react to Bayo Onanuga's statement as of the time of filing this report. Sahara Reporter's news report ends in quotes.
See this next video I'm about to play. After you people watch it, we can't decide whether na shrine they don't take cook on our mind. All the people who want support Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2027, we can't know whether they don't cook your mind. So you know go get sense. Or una dey okay.
They've been trying to take me out from the position, but it's not possible. And mind you, I'm winning this election. I don't care whatever is happening. Nigeria deserves it. Because when I was running as a president, they didn't wanted me. Now, all of a sudden, they want me to rescue them from insecurity. As of last week, I called Peter Obi to step down for me, but he refused. Now, I'm not begging him again. I will be whatsoever in my mind, and I will make sure the insecurity affects people in Southeast more. Listen, I am going to borrow more and more and more money from World Bank. Try to understand me. I wouldn't like to stop this insecurity because if I do, how will our party be able to raise funds to win elections? Think about it. Even the loans I'm taking is to fund them. Also, I have planned after I'm done with my position as a president.
You have failed. So talking about jazz, except if they use jazz, and even if they use jazz on Nigerians, time don't reach where they say you go tap yourself. You go wash your body again, make you understand, say, this man does not have anything to offer. Come 2027. Any other option is welcome. But for me, myself and I, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot offer us anything anymore. So it should go. It should go. It should go. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it should go. Peace and love. Don't.
I go talk on my mind. I go talk on my mind, bro. You no get head. You no get head. See that thing where they wear for neck, eh? No, they wear for neck again, they do anything. No, they wear for, they don't go put jazz for them. Why people know you wear the goat shrine. You don't go put jazz for your neck.
Alright, so talking about using jazz and going to shrine. You see this next video I'm about to play. After you people watch it, we can't decide whether na shrine they don't take cook on our mind. All the people who want support Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2027, we can't know whether they don't cook your mind. So you know go get sense. Or una dey okay.
Whichever way, by all means necessary, you must have electricity.
Okay.
And you will not pay for estimated bill anymore. A promise made will be a promise kept. If I can't keep the promise and I come back for second term, don't vote for me. That's the truth.
You heard him? This was when he was doing his campaign. He said a promise made will be a promise kept. That if he does not give Nigerians electricity, after 4 years, they should not vote for him. So it's not like I'm campaigning against him. I am putting his words against him. So there's no way we don't have electricity. As a matter of fact, let me even show you. For the very first time, since the inception, since the creation of Nigeria and the creation of Aso Rock, for the very first time, as you can see, Aso Rock to exit national grid by March 2026. Then look at this one. Aso Rock opting for 10 billion naira solar, questions presidents believe in national grid. So as of today, this was in March, April, we did May. As of today, they don't abandon Aso Rock where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu dey stay. Now solar that they use now. They don't abandon national grid. So whatever happen, no concern anybody. And to be very, very honest, in Nigeria of today, people don't even care about the light anymore. That's why people are opting out for solar. People, they opt out for solar. Now they China. Now power station, when I carry come back now, at least where go help people. Now yeah, they bring come. Do you understand? People don't they give up. So you made a promise that if you cannot give electricity to Nigerians, they should not vote you in the coming term. So that is what Nigerians are going to follow. This is not say, oh, very dark. No. I get a lot of your clips and everything you promise. You have failed. You have failed. So talking about jazz, except if they use jazz, and even if they use jazz on Nigerians, time don't reach where they say you go tap yourself. You go wash your body again, make you understand, say, this man does not have anything to offer come 2027. Any other option is welcome. But for me, myself and I, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot offer us anything anymore. So it should go. It should go. It should go. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it should go. Peace and love. Don't play.
Osazuwa Nephew, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Nephew, bringing you the news in a more digital way.